Hello and welcome. Thank you everybody for being here. Good to see everybody in the chat. I see we got a lot of people here today already. And I can take off my headphones now that the audio is in fact working. This is gonna be fun. I've got a whole bunch of stuff today for today's show. Since we are celebrating 20K on this channel, all thanks to all of you who are here and watching. Yeah, I've got the jacket back. I brought this back after 10K, so I figured it was a good time to bring it back for 20. We will see what we've got in store today. So, if you are new here, welcome. I got a whole bunch of new people after the last video I posted about the ATEM Mini stand. So, today's show, I'm going to do some Q&A as well, but I do have some special stuff in mind for you to celebrate. So I'm going to announce a giveaway. I'm going to tell you how that's going to work. I am going to give you a little tour around the room here because I realized it was kind of fun to do that at 10K, and things are a little different now. So we'll show you around and what's going on here. And I am today using the ATEM Mini Extreme, which is actually on loan to me from DVE Store. They were nice enough to overnight it to me the other day. So this is the first time using it on this stream until the one that I actually bought arrives. So I decided I couldn't wait for the ISO to arrive. So today I am on the regular Extreme, and oh, it's nice. Let me just tell you that ahead of time. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff. All right, where are we gonna start? Let me pull up the chat and see if we've got any nice comments in here to show. I am going to tell you why I am excited about the ISO or the Extreme as well, because it's just gonna makes this part a lot easier. Let me just tell you that. All right, so yes, congrats on 20K. I'm scrolling back up a bit to catch up on this. And if you do have a question for me, make sure you mention my name at Aaron Parecki in the chat, and that way it highlights it on my screen. All right. Yes, I do not know when my Extreme is coming in, but I do have this one on loan from DVE Store. Again, thanks to them for doing that. They're the ones, of course, who are selling the 3D printed stand here in the US. Oh, thank you, Keith. I appreciate it. And look at that. My light already changed color to match the super chat. I appreciate it, Keith. So was SuperSource the first or second thing you tried? Definitely the first. I am super, super excited about SuperSource, and I will show you exactly why I'm so excited about it. It does a lot of very cool stuff. We're gonna talk a little bit about how that works in this stream too, because I've already learned some things. Randy, any rumors on when the ISO will be available? Unfortunately, I have not heard anything new about that. And I do know that people in the Netherlands were getting their Extremes a lot earlier than people in the US. So maybe as soon as we hear some rumors of them getting their ISOs, we will be able to know when we'll get them in the US here. All right, let me scroll back up. And I, as usual, had to redo all of my buttons here. So things are gonna be a little bit of a rougher than normal because I rewired all sorts of things. I've got actually, let's see if I can push the right button. There's so many buttons on this thing. It should be that one. There we go. This is the Extreme on my desk. Cables are a bit of a mess back here because I did not have time to wire up all the little breakout jacks here for the Extreme. So I've got my normal 4 that run into the normal ATEM Mini Pro. And then a lot of these are just loose, dangling messes around the desk in order to just fill up the rest of the inputs. And you can see the multi-view from it is here and up here. And I will walk through that in a bit. But yes, let's get back to the chat. Oh my gosh, you are all so amazing. Thank you all so much for the super chat. Oh, and thanks, Chuck, for being able to join live. That's awesome. Yeah, and apologies to all the people in Australia and that half of the world, because this is a terrible time for a live stream for you. I apologize. Congrats on 20K. Thank you. Good to see everybody here. Let me see if there's any more questions. Okay. Before we get going, sound is good. Hello from Quebec. Hello from Germany. Oh, yes, excellent. Your PK1 comes this week. Awesome. Where did you order from, Steve? All right, scrolling through the intros. Yeah, I do need to change. At some point, I'm going to do do a show at a different time. Only thinking about Sundays is looking forward to the show. Thanks. Start pouring mimosa. I will very shortly. Believe me. What am I going to wear for 50K? Excellent question. I might have beamed in. I exploded in. That was a fun little animation that I made very frantically last night. 50K pink jacket. We'll see. Got my Santa order in the UK. Excellent. Yep. I was trying to get like a proper order form up for the UK one, but they were having trouble with their website. So it's kind of weird. You have to like just fill out a contact form and then they send you an invoice. They are real. I promise. They're legit. I know it's not like a normal purchase button. Oh, hey, how's Companion working with the Extreme? Good question. So I tried to update Companion because they did theoretically add support for the Extreme already. I couldn't get it to actually update properly for some reason, and I ran out of time. Like I said, I got this yesterday, like at noon. And so what I'm doing is, because it's an ATEM, all the ATEM Companion stuff does still work, and you don't have to. It doesn't have to know that it's an Extreme. It just can't do the special things that the Extreme has. So it can do some things and like can do input switching and all that kind of stuff. So it is, until I figure out how to actually properly update it, it's at least functional, but not perfect. I saw a few more super chats in there. Oh, thanks, Chris. Are you going to paint yours white? I haven't painted any of my ATEM minis white, and that's because I actually think they're okay with the dark top, even though the rest of my desk is white, because these buttons actually, when I had that little sleeve over it, the buttons are harder to see for some reason. I don't know exactly how that works, but I don't mind it. So I'm gonna, get rid of these black cables and wire them all into this eventually. But no, I'm probably not gonna paint the actual. Oh, ordered from UK Extrinsic. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you got the shipping notification. See, it is real. It's great. Okay. All right, I'm gonna scroll. I'm going to try to get to some questions, and then we're gonna do a quick overview of what I've got in front of me here. Huge congrats on 20K. Wish I could provide more support than a comment. Well, that is enough for me. Thank you. Have you had any issues with echo on the headphone jack, even just playing a single HDMI audio source to get reverb sounding audio on headphones? No, mine worked great. I do appreciate having the headphone jack. Ironically, I'm not using it today for reasons I will explain shortly. But no, I haven't seen any problems with the headphone jack on mine yet. Excellent. Okay, if I want chroma key preview on HDMI aux, must I use either preview program bus for that, or is there another way to preview the chroma key? Ooh, good question. So if you want to preview the chroma key on the aux out, then you can feed the preview out of one of the outputs, which is super cool. So one of the really cool things about the ISO model is that both HDMI outs are assignable to whatever you want them to be. So you can make one a program feed to send to, like, as a confidence monitor for the person streaming, and then you can make the other one the multi-view, or you can make one of them a preview, which then will let you do things like previewing the chroma key. And you don't need to do anything more than, let me test sharing my computer screen to this for the first time. You don't need to do anything more than using the little buttons down here to preview. So if you choose one of these, it will change what's being shown on the preview window. And I'm going to show you the multi-view of this, which is why I have it wired up this way. So you should be seeing the multi-view of the ATEM Mini ISO. And notice the window up there called preview. That one, if I start pressing these buttons, it'll change what's up there, right? So we can preview the chroma key. The big window here is what's live, but we can preview the chroma key here by using one of the many upstream keys available, which is super cool. There's now 3 upstream keys available. So if I press this key 3 button, it's kind of small on the screen, sorry, but if I press this key 3 button, that's going to preview it. So you can see it's bringing it into the preview window, but I have to choose what to fill it with. So I'm going to choose my computer as the main thing and then choose the camera. And we're going to do a chroma key, not flying key, and then we're going to sample and find that green-ish. This is, again, not going to be a good chroma key because my background is not set up for it, but it's going to do something. I mean, it's not the worst. You can see my computer screen leaking through there, right? And this is all not live, right? And then as soon as I want to go live, I can just transition, and now that is what's live up in the top right corner. So yeah, totally works. Let me switch back to that. So that was a nice little sneak peek of how I've got things wired up here, being able to show you that. So let me talk about that really quick, actually. What I've got on my screen, or in front of me here. It's the best way. Okay, so sorry for the shaky camera. I'm hand holding this today. The shaky cam is here. So this is the multi-view coming out of my ISO. So that's that. This is showing me what's on the program stream, right? So you are seeing a window that looks like this. It's going to be a little tunnel vision here. Up here, this small monitor is actually the multi-view from my ATEM Mini Pro. And that's the one that's actually streaming today. I'm not actually streaming from the Extreme because I wanted to be able to show you the multi-view. And if you look at the multi-view of the Pro, sorry for the tunnel vision, I've got my main camera routed here again, but what I've really gotten here is 2 HDMI outs from the Extreme. One's going into input 4, one's going into input 3. So what that means is I can actually decide whether to show you the program from the Extreme or the multi-view from the Extreme. That way I can do things like show you how the buttons work and things like that. So that's what's going on there. The rest of the stuff here, I get my computer screen like normal, and my Stream Deck, which is basically doing nothing today, except that's how I brought the intro explosion in. Get rid of the chat. That's how I brought the intro explosion in, and then I've got the Hyperdeck for playing back the graphics. That was doing the countdown as well as the explosion, which should be right here again. Yeah, you can see there it goes. And then I'm not really making good use of these 2 monitors today because I've really just got the multi-view up here. So yeah, that's a little bit about the setup of what's on my desk. Sorry for the shaky cam. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions about that. If I forgot anything, I'll do more behind the scenes stuff in a bit too. Okay. Still got the audio, yes. So when you use the Sony ZD-1, which is that shaky cam that you saw, that's my handheld, on the Hollyland wireless right now. So this little rig is the Hollyland 300 Pro. And this is the lav mic, Hollyland lav mic, which I'm actually haven't turned on yet. I'm still going with my overhead mic, but that's so that I can walk around. And this is the Sony ZD-1. This battery lasts about, I would say, 40 minutes. Not super great, so I'm going to have to change it probably throughout this stream. I have the other batteries charging already, but it is good enough. Nearly as many screens in multi-view as there are buttons. I will have to simplify this for users at work. Yeah, so that's a good point. On the multi-view of the Extreme, which is now what you are looking at here, that's how many windows you get. And there's a lot. But the cool thing is you can actually customize it. So if I go into, you can kind of see my computer screen here. If I go into this, let me make my computer screen bigger by doing that way. And you can actually customize what shows up in the multi-view, which is super cool. So you can decide which windows to put where. So you can say like, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down here. And then this is the program, but I can also just reassign it to anything. Any of these can be reassigned. So I can be like, oh, instead of watching the audio, I actually want to see my SuperSource layout. Or I actually want to see what's on the media player. And you can just reassign these things, which is super, super cool. So that is what's going on there. And you can also change, they don't all have to be, I don't want to mess it up. Actually, I guess I can. Let me change this bottom corner. So now it's another large block, right? So if you want to simplify it, you can actually just show nothing there if you want, or make another duplicate of the program. You don't need to have all 16 boxes up there. But in my case, I do want them. Oh, look, it saved it. That's great. Okay, it came back. Excellent. And now you're seeing my computer screen. There we go. So yeah, that's how I can show you the multi-view and myself. Can you change the multi-view layout with a macro? This is an excellent question. I have not tried it yet, actually. I am curious to try that. Yeah, it is awesome that it is configurable. It makes it a lot more powerful to be able to do whatever you want with it. What is the Blackmagic device below the dual monitors and how do you use it? Oh yeah, so that's actually a lot of the magic of how my setup works here. This is, which camera is that? I need better labels. So this is, it's called an SDI matrix. Basically, it's got 20 inputs and 20 outputs, and then you can reassign any of the inputs to any of the outputs. And that's what lets me use more than 4 sources on my ATEM Mini Pro, where I was able to reroute and on the fly change like, oh, now I want, now I actually would rather have is my keyer still on? It is. There we go. Ha! It was keying itself out. That was weird. So normally I have, with the Pro, just the 4 inputs, I can choose what 4 of my actual devices are then sent into it, as well as sending things back out to monitors. So you might notice that I have a ton of monitors around here, and that's not what I meant to do. There we go. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here, and then 2 more over there. 1 as the teleprompter for the camera, 1 computer monitor over by the desk. And it also lets me send anything to any of those monitors. So I can say, I actually don't want Steadicam for this. So I can decide, actually, I don't want that to be multi-view anymore. Let me change this one. So I can say, I can go in here and I can say, at small monitor, instead of showing me the table camera, I actually want it to show the wireless camera that I'm holding. And now it's reassigned to that. Or I can say, actually, I want it to be the printer camera for my 3D printer. Or I want it to be whatever, right? So any of my inputs can be routed to any of the monitors. And then, of course, the ATEM shows up as monitors too. And it is very cool. And now I have to redo everything in order to fit the 8 the 8 sources that the Extreme has. Why is the multi-view routed into the ATEM Mini Pro and not into the Extreme? Why is the multi-view routed into the ATEM Mini Pro and not into the Extreme? So the multi-view of the Extreme is sent into the matrix, which gives me a copy here, and it's sending another copy of it into the ISO that is streaming. That way I can switch to it here so you can see it. Does Video Hub also let you decide whether to route audio or not? It doesn't let you route audio separately. It is, think of it as like actually unplugging cables. So you can say, you it's like unplugging an SCI cable from there and plugging it back in over here, except it's all electronic, and you get to copy signals that way too. So I can send the same source to multiple destinations. So I've got my Extremes multi-view is being sent one copy to my monitor and one copy to the Pro that is streaming to you on YouTube. Yes, you can label the inputs. I did label them, and I labeled them in a way that is, turns out, not convenient for what I'm doing, which was the mistake. Have I seen the new Rode Wireless Go 2? What is your thoughts? I haven't actually used it yet, but I have. I saw all the announcements about it. It looks great. I like the Rode Wireless Go, the original one. The 2 looks like a fantastic upgrade to that, and one of you is going to get it before me because that is one of the prizes in the giveaway. Which, speaking of, let's talk about that for a minute. So, here's how the giveaway works. There are, let me copy this link. I'm going to drop this link in the chat. There is a link for doing the entry for this channel. I'm going to link this in the chat right now. I'm also going to put it in the video description if you're watching this in the replay. So this link is going to give you a bunch of things you can do to enter multiple times. So every action will get you some number of entries towards it. And let me share this. This is what it looks like. So you can go and this giveaway is sponsored by YOLO Live and Hollyland and Rode and Aputure, and they are giving away these 4 prizes. And we would like you to go and visit and interact with all of these fantastic companies on Instagram and a few other secret things that you will unlock by doing these. So this is going to be the best way to enter. And when you do this, it'll unlock new actions as well, some of which are going to be fun little things like where do I see the entries? So a couple of ways you can get even more entries into the giveaway is by actually posting a photo on Twitter or Instagram of your own setups and then tag us, and then there's a spot to drop in the link to your photo. You can also, if you pay attention during this stream, you will find a secret code somewhere in the stream. I'm not going to tell you where. It might be something I say. It might be something in the background. It might be on my screen. I'm not going to tell you where to find that. But if you do find it, there's a place to enter that code into the giveaway as well. I will be doing that again next week. So next week, during next week's streams, I'm going to also include a second code. And you'll have to watch the stream in order to find the code. And that'll give you even more chances to enter. And we're going to announce the winners 2 Sundays from now. So on the 21st, or I guess 22nd if you are across the date line. And that's when we'll announce the winners based on a random drawing of everybody who's entered. The other way to enter is to go to the Instagram accounts of these companies and go and comment on their posts. They all have a post or a story up about this giveaway. So you can go to Instagram, what is it? YOLO, let me see if I'm logged in on my computer. That would have been a good idea to prep ahead of time. And if there we go. So here is me, but if you look at, not that one, here's one from Hollyland. So Hollyland posted about the giveaway on their Insta, and go there and comment, and that's another way to enter. And the more of these things you do, the more chances you have to win, because we are basically selecting 4 from my giveaway, and then 1 of the comments from each of the brands will be selected into a pool of 8, and we'll randomly draw from the 8 in 2 weeks. So I hope that all makes sense. If you don't have an Instagram, then you don't need to. You can just enter all the other ways. There's plenty of things you can do on the giveaway, even without an Instagram, and that is totally fine. Or just go make an account, whatever. It's free. Okay. Let me take a look back at the chats. Joe says, just make me a winner the 19th of my birthday. Great. It says my valid email address is invalid. That is very strange. Message me later and we will take a look. Paulo says, thank you for all the great content on your channel and also Kersey for making me want more gear. I'm sorry. I know. It's a lot of fun. Okay, let me scroll back up. Mark says, congrats on the 20K. I'm proud to say that I've been watching since you set up the original Mini. So is your stream the ISO? I'm wondering when they will ship to Canada. Thank you for watching since the original Mini. Yeah, that was a lot of fun too. That was still is an amazing device, frankly. But yeah, the one I'm using today, the Extreme, is not the ISO. It is a regular Extreme. DVE Store had some extra ones in stock. They didn't actually sell out all their inventory. So this is on loan from them, thanks to them. So again, shout out to DVE Store. And they actually might have one more in stock right now. So if you do want to get one that you haven't yet, let me just go grab that link. And why is it not showing up? Good question. Apparently I haven't made the link for it yet. Oh, I think I made a direct link. It's probably in this video description by now. ATEM Mini Extreme. And DVE Store says, in stock, not for long. So if anybody wants the Extreme, go order from DVE Store. That link is in the chat now. Paul, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. All right, let me talk about, oh, this is a good question. Do you use the backup stream? Ever needed it? Excellent question. So yes, I have used it, and I've used it in a couple of interesting ways. The backup stream. So YouTube gives you 2 URLs to push to video to, and you can do some really clever things by using it. So it's meant to be a backup stream, like in case one internet connection goes down, it will then pick up from your backup stream. But you don't have to send the same thing to both streams. You do have to send the same frame rate to both, otherwise YouTube gets mad. But it doesn't have to be the actual same content, which means you can actually do things like oh no, got a server error sign up for newsletter. That's bad. I'll fix that. Looks like I messed something up on my newsletter. Okay, well, you'll have to come back and subscribe again when I fix that. That's not something I'm gonna do live. So yeah, with the backup URL, cool thing you can do is stream like some sort of generic graphic like signal was lost, and just put on some stock music in case you actually want to stream from a different location. So if you only have one internet connection on site and you don't have a way to stream using a backup internet connection, you can stream from a different studio, totally different location, and stream something that's just generic, like, we'll be resuming the program shortly. Sorry for the dropout. What that does is it means that your viewers, if your main feed does drop, it means your viewers will, instead of seeing just the spinner, they will see some content instead and music. And that way they know that you're not just gone. And that lets you do, that means that you don't have to like frantically scramble to reconnect the internet or whatever. And I like that option a lot. So I did that with when I did the YoloBox stream from the smoke, where I didn't know if my cell phone was going to hold up the whole time. So I streamed to my YouTube backup URL from the studio. I just had a video playing on a loop at the studio, streaming from my ATEM Mini Pro to the backup URL. So that is one way one cool way to do that. Another way that I used it recently was the stream that we did with Photo Joseph and John Barker from Here to Record, the three of us. That was being broadcast from Joseph's studio to Restream.io to all three of our channels, which means I basically gave Joseph a stream key, and he was streaming to the primary URL of my YouTube channel. And then I streamed from here to my backup URL using the same stream key. What that meant is that because if you were watching that show, we were having some internet connection problems, and at the beginning especially, and he actually had to go and like reboot something, which meant he was no longer streaming to Restream. And that meant that I could fill in the gap in my stream by pushing content from here. So I just, again, had like a splash graphic up with some music. But it meant that while that reboot was happening, the viewers were not stuck on a spinner, and they were still getting some sort of content so that they knew that, you know, we were going to be coming back soon. So I think those are some interesting ways to use the backup URL. But yeah, great question. All right. I got a server error the first time I tried to subscribe. I tried again and it worked fine. Okay, try that. I will fix it otherwise. But yes, you can. This will, again, this is not just today. So this giveaway is up for 2 weeks. So feel free to come back and subscribe again later. The newsletter, what that does though, is basically it sends out notices when I go live. So it sent one out this morning about this live stream 30 minutes before. That way, since YouTube's notifications seem to be pretty flaky, you will actually get a notification via email when I do go live. And there is a secret code somewhere. You will have to just keep an eye out or an ear. Okay. And I see a bunch of you are tweeting at me. Fantastic. Can prizes be shipped internationally? They absolutely can. Yes. I'm not actually sure I'm sure there's a couple of countries that are limited because of various rules, but generally, yes, it is not limited to the US. Your original mini multiview video was epic such a long time ago. It was such a long time ago. That one, that multiview, that was before the Pro was out, before there was multiview, and that was, you know, my attempt at creating a multiview for the original ATEM Mini, mainly to make a point. I don't think you actually need it for that. I think there's plenty of other uses of the Mini without multiview, because it was a bit of a hodgepodge of parts. Which cameras do you use in your streaming setup? So the camera up there, my main camera for the stream is the Lumix G7, and that camera is my favorite camera for this because of how affordable it is. And I'm going to drop a link to this because there it is. So favorite streaming camera, that is G7. It's $500 including a kit lens. The kit lens is fine. Of course, you can spend more money on a better lens as well, which is a good idea eventually. But even with a kit lens, it's going to give you far better results than a webcam. And it's a lot less cheaper than a lot of the other options for cameras. And the one limit on it is when you record internally, it doesn't output over HDMI, which is why it's my streaming camera. I don't record anything on it. It's just outputting HDMI into the switcher. I also have this microphone run into that camera, and that guarantees the audio is in sync. So that is, I like that setup. It makes things very simple, and it's relatively affordable. It's affordable enough that I can just put it on the desk, not worry about having spent $1,000 or more on a camera that sits on my desk. This lens, I did upgrade the lens. This lens is the Leica 15mm, and again, this is my favorite lens. It is very, it can open it up very wide, so it's a nice wide aperture. And that is, that is my favorite lens for it. The lens is as much as the camera, so don't buy that until you are ready to actually upgrade that. Okay, Do you have tracking on that PTZ camera? Yeah, so this is I can give you a quick room tour with this camera, and you'll see how the tracking goes. This is the OBSbot. They actually sent it out, and I reviewed it or talked about it last week. So this is what that camera looks like. It might be a little bit out of sync. I can't quite tell because now the audio is routing through the Lumix camera, but you're looking at me through the PTZ camera. But this is an automatic tracking. So as I walk around, let's see if it's on. Yeah, it's on. So it's face tracking. And no, I got to switch audio so you can actually hear me as I leave the camera. Okay, we're going to switch audio to the wireless audio. So that's going to be, this one. Now there's definitely going to be a delay because you're listening to me through the wireless HDMI delay. Sorry about that. But yeah, now it's tracking me around the room, and as long as it can see my face, it'll keep following me. And this way I can show you what this room looks like from an angle other than how you normally see me, which is like that. So normally I have my camera so that it's just kind of at an angle, and this lens happens to be a lot wider. So this is a gesture camera too. So when I do this, it'll pause tracking, and now it won't track me around. If I get back in the frame and do this, it'll track me again. And then there's another gesture, which I forgot already. Another gesture for zooming in. I'm gonna have to figure that one out again. But yeah, cool little camera. And obviously the picture is not quite as good as my Lumix G7, but hey, it's cool. And that is the link for that camera. Looks like my key is a little bit off on that chat. So yeah, let me show you a little bit around the room. This is the light on the ground that's making that gradient, which cut out. I see audio still. I think it's fine. Can't tell if the color is different on the OBS camera or if the reflections from the jacket. Color is definitely different. Look at the gradient here, and then compare it to this camera. This camera is a lot crisper, a lot smoother, of course, because it's a mirrorless camera with a very nice lens. But you know, this is pretty decent. Oh yeah, this is a webcam, so it is plugged into my computer, and this is actually, you're looking at actually QuickTime full screen on my full screen on my computer. So if I go over to my computer and, oh yeah, there's my countdown timer, there's QuickTime. You can see the little play bar on QuickTime. But QuickTime full screen means I can route it into the switcher. Oh, zoom is the L gesture, that's right. So if I do this, and then it should, there we go, now it's zooming in. It's just 2x zoom. So it's now zoomed, and I believe it's digital, so it probably looks a little bit grainier now. And then do that again, and it will zoom back out, hopefully. Go, go, go. No? Come on. Do I have to do it with the other hand? There we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, my audio is out of sync. Let me switch back. That's again because my audio is coming from this microphone now, so this should be in sync. And the wireless delay is what you were hearing. So this is how I can show you around the rest of the room. But yeah, while I've got this one, let me show you behind my desk, which is a bit of a disaster, but it's kind of fun. So normally I've got 4 of those routed back there. I'm going to have to add another 4. And then on the back, what I've got is a mess of cables that are horribly not managed at all. And if you look in there, let's see, there's the other end of them. And they all run into these converters. So these are a little SDI converter, bidirectional. These ones are single directional. And I made these little brackets for them. These were something else I 3D printed. And they're little shelves, which you can stack as many as you want. And that way they stay more organized. This is at an angle. This is actually tilted. And there's a shim that like makes it vertical again. And then that way they actually stack up straight. And you can see it's a bit of a mess because I had to rewire things for the Extreme and route a bunch of new stuff. The power is a disaster. Power cords are a bit of a mess down there. Sorry about that. Eventually I will fix that. But you can't tell from the other side, which is all that really matters. A couple of the ones in here, so there's 4 or maybe 6 or so, I think, that feed down into that cable. And they are wrapped up in there, which comes around into this box, which is my last piece to build in the studio. Inside that box is another pile of converters. And in there, they break out into, you can kind of see on that side, it breaks out into HDMI ports on the top. So I can plug stuff in over here. And this is where I've got my other monitor, which I can, again, it's routable, so I can choose what to show on there. Right now it's showing multi-view from the Extreme. I've got a monitor under that teleprompter there for the main camera. That's how I do all my videos. And I also sometimes put another ATEM Mini down here or other devices I'm testing, like the YoloBox or the other switchers, the Epiphan, and then I can feed in signals into the table here from the main desk. Joe says, you can't tell from the other side, these cables are Aaron's mullet. So yeah, the cable management is a disaster, partly because I haven't quite actually finished any of this yet. I'm going to finish it, I promise, at some point, but I have not yet. And now that I've got the Extreme, I have to redo everything anyway. Switch back to that audio. See what other questions we have. Aren't they overheating, the converters? No, there's a tiny bit of a gap between them, and that seems to be fine. What is the resolution and frame rate? I actually don't know. I don't know. Thanks for the behind the switcher tour. It's a bit of a mess, but hey, it works. And the thanks to that SDI matrix, that has actually made a lot of this stuff a lot more manageable, and it's meant that the cable management disaster isn't as bad as it would be otherwise. So normally with the giant mess of cables, it would be really annoying because you'd have to be rewiring things. And when I do these live streams, I have, I want to have my multi-view on the, I want my multi-view big because that's what I'm showing you. And then I want a computer screen. But when I do workshops where I'm actually teaching software stuff, I want 2 outputs that I'm looking at on my computer. So what I do is I go into my switcher and I say, oh, now that monitor actually gets to become my computer monitor, which, let me get rid of the camera over there so it doesn't, yeah. So I can actually say it's now a computer monitor. And in a second, it'll sync up. Oops, it did. Oh, that's weird. Well, now it's another copy of my screen, but you get the idea. You can just reassign it to whatever you want. My other computer, that should have worked. Why isn't that one working? Something is wrong. One of the problems with the bidirectional converters, oh no, I actually want that to be the multi-view. One of the problems with the bidirectional converters is they don't lock into bidirectional mode. So the little Blackmagic SDI bidirectional things, they are either, well, they will auto adapt. So grab one. I want them to change this. I really want them to change this. But it's got HDMI in, HDMI out, SDI in, SDI out. Bidirectional, right? So you feed SDI in and it comes out HDMI. You feed HDMI in, that comes out SDI. Cool, great. It has another feature where if you only have one thing plugged in, if you have only SDI in, it'll send it over HDMI out and copy it back out the SDI port. Same on the HDMI side. So it has 3 modes. You can have HDMI in to HDMI pass through and SDI out. You can do SDI in to SDI pass through and HDMI out, or you can do bidirectional where you're using both cross converters. And the problem is that there is no way to lock it. So if it detects a signal is gone, it'll switch modes. So that's what was happening there is the converter that's feeding that screen, I guess the one coming out of one of the converters somewhere, was losing the signal and then saying, oh, I guess I better switch into copy the other signal mode, which apparently was connected to my camera. And I have no idea what's connected where at this point because I've had to redo too many things, but that's kind of the problem there. Do you have a wire diagram for the 20 cable matrix and how they're connected? I wanted to get an idea. I do, actually. So let me see if it's probably not 100%, probably not 100% up to date, but let me throw that on the other screen. Oh, and you know what I want to do? I want to make a SuperSource layout to show you this. But we're going to have to do this live because I don't have any SuperSources quite set up yet. So I'm going to show you the multi-view of this, and you can see my computer 2 over there is what I want to show you in the SuperSource. So we're going to build up the SuperSource layout. SuperSource is just like another input. So for example, let's see, what am I going to put on? I'm going to put this in the background. You can choose a background and then you can put in 4 boxes, and the boxes can be cropped, resized, whatever. So, and then it just shows up like an input. So if I switch to that, you will see the SuperSource. Looks like I did already set it up. It's my computer screen and my camera. It's a little bit off. I'm a little bit off center. So if I go into SuperSource preset, or you can create the layout. Box 1 is the main camera, and you can see its position, so I can move it. It was in a fine spot. I actually kind of like that it's overlapping a tiny bit, but the crop is wrong. I want to crop less of the left and more of the right. Oops. And let's add 1 to that. There we go. And then I want to scoot it back over. So maybe a little more. Maybe we'll go 9. Maybe we'll go to 8. There we go. And then it'll crop right to 6. No, to 7. And scoot me back over there. So there's that box with my camera. There's another box. Box 2 is the computer screen. And that is not cropped at all because I wanted to show you the full screen, but it is scaled. So I can shrink it. I can make it bigger. I could make it full screen, but then it doesn't really mean that defeats the purpose of SuperSource. But what I want to do is I want to make it a little bit smaller so that it's side by side. And I could even, make them not overlap at all, right? By doing that. And then in the background, you can just choose whatever you want. Any of your inputs can be the background. So I've got that graphic. What's in my other media? Oh, I made these borders to test this overlay. So let me show you that. Let me bring this back. And then if you want to put, so we've got background layer coming in from input 8, so that the input called city loop is actually input 8. And that is actually coming from the, oh yeah, I can just switch, right. The other cool thing about SuperSource, it's not like the upstream keyers, where the upstream keyers, in order to use them effectively, you have to make macros. This, you can just, this layout is saved. So I can now switch to that and show you, there is the little Mika spec playing that graphic, that one. That's just on a loop. And then I can just switch to SuperSource. So as soon as I press that button, boom, now you're looking at the SuperSource layout. No macros needed for that. And yeah, so that the background here is, I linked to the channel I got it from, but it's like a free animations you can get on YouTube. It's a really cool channel. And I color graded it to match my colors a little better, and then converted it for H.264. And this is the player that it's on, Mika spec. So yeah, so because SuperSource ends up being just another screen, you can still overlay stuff on top. So you can still overlay the chat, right? I've still got my downstream key doing the chat. SuperSource rules. It sure does. It sure does. Okay, you don't need to see my chat as I'm doing this. So yeah, this is software control. What was I going to show you? That's what, oh no, I was going to show you the graphics. So in my SuperSource layout, I can change box 2 to, instead of having my computer screen, of course, you know, you're gonna, as soon as I click this, it's gonna disappear, but I can have it show my other computer. So my other computer is where the full screen wire diagram is. And that's now the layout-ish of what I've got in the studio here. So as I am, let's see, is this gonna work? Can I scroll around? Yeah. So this is not updated again for the Extreme. This is what I have for when I had the 2 ATEM Mini Pros connected. But you can see that it's got, is that a zoom? It's kind of small for me to see on this. I need to fix that. There we go. Oops. Is that? Now I'm trying to remember how this is wired. What are you seeing? You're seeing, okay, no, that's right. Yeah, so the matrix, there's 20 ins and 20 outs, and most of these go to converters. So a couple of the outputs go to monitors, because a couple of my things are SDI out, like the 2 small monitors on my desk or in the rack, those are SDI monitors. The HyperDeck is SDI in and out, so those are direct. But then in order to get into the ATEM Mini, I have to go through these converters. So you can see the ATEM Mini, the bidirectional converters. And then, again, this is not totally accurate, but you can see that like this converter is actually being used for 2 things. It's going SDI out, but then it's also got HDMI in from some other source. And then somewhere I've got these long cables, right? So these represent the long cable runs to the other table where I've got another monitor, the teleprompter, other cameras over there, like the table camera and the overhead camera. Also, I can plug in a laptop over there. So you get the idea. Yeah, my main camera is up here going through a converter to run SDI into one of the inputs on the matrix. It's a bit of a mess. Yeah, and oh, you are seeing the multiview. That's what I wanted to show you. I'm sorry. That was, I forgot to change that a long time ago. That's why I was seeing that. Apologies. So here is this is better. This is the diagram. Anyway, it's still small. It's still hard to read. It's also not super accurate, so don't read too much into it. But I'm going to, now that I've like decided, now that I've decided how to, how to use the Extreme here in the studio, then that is going to be how I'm going to redo the diagram to match and also redo all my wiring to match. Okay, let me catch up with the chat. I am still showing the multi-view. My bad. Share the diagram in the description. Oh, you know what? I actually can do that because I forgot that there is a share feature now in this fantastic software. If I can get to that page. Come on. Okay. How do I share this? There is the link. Copy this link. Anyone with the link can see it. Okay. Again, not perfect, but the link is in the chat. Is it only 1 code per stream? There is only 1 code per stream. Did I put the wrong code in this for today? I was pretty sure the first secret code, I did it backwards. Oh, what am I going to do? I put the second code in. Okay. Well, this is now even more of a puzzle. Today's stream is put the code into the one that says second code. What I will do is, I think, enter the code from March 14th. I'm going to change the title. That's what I'm going to do. Enter the code from March 14th. Enter the code from March 7th. I can't change the code, otherwise it's going to mess everybody's up. But I can change the title of that. Okay, and yes, I will link to this again. If you missed it, the link is in the chat, and I will again update the description if you're watching this afterwards. So if you are watching this later, the link to that should be in the description, and you don't have to go dig through the chat. Okay, yeah, sorry about the diagram being small. I forgot I was sharing my multi-view. This is a good point, Simon, though. I'm guessing you would struggle to push SuperSource over Skype to demo something with camera and computer because of the heavy webcam compression. Yeah, Skype actually does pretty well. I was looking at Joseph's multi-view over Skype to control his live stream when he did a demo a couple weeks ago, and Skype doesn't compress it too much. So it actually worked out fine. Zoom compresses it a ton. It's not even just compression, it's actually scaling down to like 240 pixels. That was a bit much. So Zoom does not work super well, but the with Skype it was fine. Joe says, make sure you point out the foreground versus background selection. Good point. Yes, good point. So in the SuperSource, let me switch back to SuperSource and then switch which is in box 2 back to my main computer. So the art tab, this is basically what's not being scaled, right? It's just full screen. And then you can choose whether that's foreground or background. So right now I have it in the background because I have it as background graphics, but if I hit that, you're gonna see the graphic. So what that's actually for, if you want it in the foreground, is if you had some sort of border art. So I can actually do this really quick. The way I like to do this is if I go capture a still of whatever's in the program. So there's that image. I wish I could drag them out of here or like export, but if I just save the whole thing, it'll save that to disk. And where is my folder of all of the, where's my folder of all of the graphics? It should be here. Oops, nope, not that one. Don't open that. Get out of here, get out of here. Today, this one. So here's what I just captured. Here's the program. Then if I just open this up in Photoshop, what we can do, great freeze frame there. What we can do though is go draw little borders. So I'm just gonna go do that and then make a solid color and then get rid of the fill and then give it a layer style with a border centered. Let's make it like 12 pixels and let's make it a fun color. Let's make it match my coat. Okay. And then we'll do it again for this one. So I'll just draw a little rectangle roughly over that computer screen. And solid color, doesn't matter what color because I'm going to get rid of the fill, and then I'm going to copy that layer style onto here, paste. Okay, now I've got borders created. So if I get rid of that, then we're going to need something else to go around the edges too. We want something else in the background. So let me take my colored backgrounds. Where are they? They're somewhere in here. Oh my gosh. RGB background. Okay. So if I grab this and paste it into the background layer here, now we actually do want to get rid of those there. So I'll mask that out and then flip the mask around. Okay. Now I don't like the colors because they clash. So let me switch it to blue. Let's switch it to a light blue. Actually, let's just do white. Let's just do white. There we go. White border. Contrast against all the colors. Okay, this is a graphic now with transparency. So let me go and push this into the media pool. What was my IP address? I haven't even given this one a static IP yet. 4573. So I can push this from Photoshop. We're going to call it SuperSource overlay into slot 10. Great. Now that's in the switcher. Back to the switcher. I can choose, instead of fill source, city loop, I can choose media player. Let's go load it into the media player. Here's the graphic in media player 2. Oh yeah, by the way, there's 2 media players in this thing now. Super cool. So we can go switch it to media player 2, use that key. It's in the background. And if I switch it to the foreground, you should see the full thick borders now. Yeah. So now it's sitting over top of everything. So you can even do like, I should have done something a little bit more fun, like decorative borders. Like if you do like a wavy line, then you can overlay the wavy line around like this video, or mask it in something other than a rectangle. That would actually be a good one. So if I get rid of that and do like a oval shape like this, and do that mask, and then let's see, how do I get rid of that here? We need to get rid of that way, and then add it back here. Okay, now I've got something a little more interesting. Let's just overwrite that SuperSource oval, and it's going to actually overwrite it live, and it's in use, which means now we see it. Cool. So now I've got a pretty unique SuperSource layout all done with that overlay graphics. And now you'll see the difference if I move it to the background, right? My rectangle video from the SuperSource is now spilling over that graphic. So if I move it into the foreground, oh, I messed up the top and the bottom. I need to scale my box 1 a bit. I need to fill out that oval. There we go. Ta-da! SuperSource is amazing. That's the moral of the story. That's all you need to know. All right. That was a fun little mini tutorial. All right, change your IP now. Oh, it's a private IP. It's on my network. You don't have access to my network. Morgan, thank you for the super chat. Which HDMI monitors do you recommend? My key is definitely off because I have not tuned this yet. Let me fix that. It needs to look more like that. Nope, nope. There we go. Almost. Which HDMI monitors do you recommend? I have a output A8 for my teleprompter. Suggestions for a monitor for the second extreme output. Is the A8 the 10-inch one? Okay, so the Lilliput 10-inch one that Carl used on the case he built, I really like that one. I don't have one yet because I just was borrowing that case from him to do the video about it. I want to get that monitor though, and that one looked amazing. Let me see if I can find it again. Because yeah, it was like super bright and super sharp. A11, that's the one. Let me grab this link. Okay. Oh, one of the other things I noticed about the Extreme is that it works with some of the monitors that the Pro did not work on for me, which is super great news. So they fixed something. Okay, here's the Lilliput A11. Excellent. Closing that window. Alt, drag the layer styles from one layer to another. Excellent tip. Thank you for that. Can you get to my super chat question? Let me see if I missed one. I probably did. Thank you for that. Scrolling up. Aha! Is there a way to control Sony Alpha cameras with Companion, similarly to what you can do with ATEM software control in Blackmagic? That is an excellent question. Let's find out. So if my SuperSource should be set up again, yeah. If you look at the Companion website, this tells you what it can control. So I can go look for Sony, and that is not a camera. Is that a camera? I don't know what this is. What is Sony Visca? Oh, it's for their PTZ cameras. So yes, for their PTZ cameras you can, but it doesn't look like you can for like their regular cameras. Hopefully that helps, but that is how to find out that question. And thank you for the super chat. Where can I find that SETI Loop video? It is at the bottom of this description. There's the name of the channel that it came from. There's a bunch of other cool synthwave graphics on there too. Does Blackmagic pay you? They certainly should. No, they do not. And they are, however, very kindly going to be sending over a couple of things on loan for me to check out. I'm probably not going to buy the Web Presenter HD myself because I think the ATEM Mini Pro does enough, or the Extreme will do enough for me. But I am curious to check out the Web Presenter, so they are going to loan that to me for a couple of months to check out. I'll be able to try it out as well. All right. Dean says open the bubbles. I think Dean is correct. I just realized it's already been over an hour of me just chatting away. My wireless camera battery died as expected. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, let's switch over to the tracking camera. Nope, that one. While my mic is on the camera battery that's dead. I'm gonna grab the batteries. Plug this back in. Do you need to convert all your feeds from computers to the ATEM Extreme for frame rate reasons, or can you just go straight in? No, you can definitely go straight in. I'm doing things the complicated way. Because what this gets me by doing it this way is the ability to copy feeds to multiple places. So for example, my multiview, you can see it back over there, and it's over here. I can also say that is a computer monitor. So if I go like, I can say, now that's my computer. Now it's my computer. Go. There it goes. Okay. So now I can just walk over to that table and use it as a computer with my wireless keyboard and mouse, which is also pretty cool. And I'm going to make the teleprompter one the multi-view because I want, where is it? Destinations. Tape. Oh my gosh. Too many outputs. There we go. That one is going to be the multi-view so I can see what I'm doing in the teleprompter. And then we can switch back to this camera, which is now charged. And sound from that camera. And let me bring my keyboard and mouse over to here. Okay. Now, flattering angle, there we go. And I've still got a nice computer monitor over here. And now it's like it's like that computer is everywhere. And I can go back and see the chat and stuff. Cool. Talk about that pink thing over your head. Is it a pink microphone? It is a pink microphone. You can see it up there. It is the little Movo VXR10. And that is, that's the one. You're not hearing it now because you're hearing me on the lav mic, but that is what I normally use for all my live streams. And that is the, oops, that is the link. Oh, Christian, thank you for the super chat. And Steve, thank you for the super chat. Congrats on 20K. And Droopy Dog, thank you for the super chat. And that is a great, on that note, it was a great note to open this and take a sip. Paulo, yeah, that mic, I would say it is quite good. And especially considering the price, it is extremely affordable. And it's good enough to, for me. I'm sure there's better microphones, but you know, it works. One of the things I actually like about it is that it plugs directly into the camera. So I don't have to worry about powering it separately. Don't take out the lights this time. Yes. The last time I did this, I almost made a dent on the ceiling. Thankfully, it did not dent the ceiling, but it did make quite a noise. There we go. Whew. All right, cheers, everybody. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me every week since last April. It's a lot of fun. Is it some German sect again? It is, in fact, that is exactly what it is. It is Schloss Biebrich Trocken. All right, cheers. Dean, thank you so much. Thank you for your content each week. I learn so much from this channel. And sorry, do my live streaming roll on 50K? Yeah, cheers. Thank you so much. All right, let me see if I can, oh, I should have a, yes, my macro worked. From my iPad even. And if I redo my, which one was I going to use for that? I have an overhead camera too, so I can show you stuff on this table. Would be camera 5. So I want to redo computer 2. I ran out of inputs already on the Extreme because I actually do have 9 things I wanted to plug in today. Where is it? What am I sending there right now? Computer 2. Why can't I find it? I'm trying to find, let's see, how do I get this? There we go. That worked. I am trying to reassign input 5. Oh, it's hardwired. That's why I can't find it, because I can't do that after all. So that one is stuck as that. Oh well. My nice overhead camera, I apparently ran out of slots to input. But yes. I read the Extreme gets very hot. What are your experiences? The so far, so I think they changed the way the fans work. The fan seems to pull in from both sides and out the back, and it is definitely warm, but it doesn't seem any different than how hot the normal one got. Oh, how's my audio? Probably out of sync again, right? Because you're looking at me through, yeah, you're looking at me through the Blackmagic camera and listening to me from the wireless HDMI. I should be able to switch that. Switch the audio around. So if I switch my audio to be from the Blackmagic camera, which is input 11. That looks too quiet. That is not enough sound coming in from that, so that's not going to work. why don't I plug in the Hollyland receiver into the Blackmagic camera? This audio is coming from the Blackmagic camera, but it seems like it's too quiet still. How is the sound? Yeah, I had audio turned off while I was fiddling with that. Does it sound okay? I'm probably in sync, but I think it's quiet. I think it's too quiet. Way low. Does it get noisy if I turn it up? Let me just get my headphones. Because I gave myself a super long cord. Hello? Whoa. Sounds echoed. It does. It's not using the lav mic, that's why. It's just the camera audio. Probably is nice and loud over here now. Aha, figured it out. There we go. I haven't really done audio stuff with the Blackmagic camera yet, so I forgot that you have to actually explicitly change what audio source the Blackmagic camera is using. So it was just the camera audio before. But now you are hearing much better audio, and make sure I'm not clipping. Yeah, okay, better. The Blackmagic color, is it very different? It is very good, thank you. You are looking at the LUT that I made that tries to match my G7. So, is it still too low? It is still too low. One more time. I think. Testing, testing, testing. Oh, there we go. Ooh, too hot. That's better. Sorry I didn't test that ahead of time. Normally, I try to. Okay, yeah, better. I probably whispered the secret. Okay, let me just check myself. No, it sounds fine. Great. Do you like the GBM light behind me? I do. It is, yeah, it's a RGB. I did a video about it, but I like that it just throws a lot of light into the room. Okay, let's plug this iPad in so I don't lose my control. Have you mentioned how much you've invested in your complete audio video equipment setup to date? No, I have not. I have not. I don't think I want to know. Quite a lot is the answer. Quite a lot. Have I seen the trendy new Elgato sound panels? I have not seen their new sound panels. That sounds very cool. Thank you for the congrats. Yeah, all the audio out of sync. Guess if you ran inputs of one extreme into the other, yeah, it'd be a lot. I don't know what I'm going to do exactly. I don't think I want 2 ATEM Mini Extremes in the studio, but we'll see how that goes. ATEM Extreme will be a 1 ME killer, probably. That middle tier needs some updating. Definitely needs some updating. It is not up to par with the rest of the gear now. What teleprompter and monitor are you using? This is, let me show this angle. Zoom in a little bit. So this is it's actually the one that I showed on the stream a couple weeks ago. What was it? Let me just search for it. Not the Padcaster Parrot, but it was I don't know why I didn't drop a link to it in my little linky website. That's the one. PerGear Mini Teleprompter. Okay, I did have a link to it. I don't know why it didn't show up in search. So this is the PerGear Mini Teleprompter, and then the screen for it is the FeelWorld FeelWorld little 7-inch T7. FeelWorld, double check that. Yeah, FeelWorld T7 HDMI, T7 HDMI monitor. And it happens to fit just into the little thing there, like just barely. It's not really made for it. You can see that actually the little clamp for holding like a smartphone, it's actually resting on top of it. It's not supposed to work this way, but it does. And you can see it's also a little bit wider. Like, let me just show you like this. It's a little bit wider than the teleprompter is, so not perfect, but it does do a pretty good job. And it means that because it's an HDMI monitor, it'll do the image flip itself. So I can just send, again, any signal from my switcher into that monitor. So right now it's showing me the multi-view so that I can see what you're seeing on the stream, make sure its levels are right and all that, because I've reassigned my computer, my monitor. This is now my computer monitor instead of multi-view like before. That way I can see the chat. I could do it the other way too. I could put the chat up there, but then it's a little bit small. Oh yeah, you should plug the ATEM stand. Yeah, it's been sitting over here on my desk. So if you haven't figured it out yet, if you haven't found this yet, I don't know how you would be here if you haven't already seen this. It's the latest video I did, but this is the stand that I designed for the ATEM Mini Pro. Not the ATEM Mini Extreme yet, because I didn't have it in order to measure it, but for the ATEM Mini, the original one, which I have sitting over here. And this is, let me get this camera back into a good spot. So yeah, the ATEM Mini sits like that, and then it tilts it a bit up. I've got this nice little deck saver cover over it, which I made sure it had room to fit, rather than like the ones that are the little clamps which block the case. So this sits here, then there's enough room to run all the cables out the back. You can actually put another ATEM Mini down below it, or like a Stream Deck if you want. And then you can attach stuff to it. So I've got the small rig monitor mount. So I use that monitor usually up here. That's what I was shooting all the video with. But you can put a monitor up here. You can put stuff on the cold shoe, mounts, like, you know, attach your wireless mic receiver or whatever. You can attach one of these hard drive things. I just realized one of my lights is off. Let's give you some more light. There we go. So you can attach one of these hard drive holders over here and then sit a hard drive there. It'll also attach on the back. So there's more little clamps over here on the back. Lots of different options. And then if you do want to, you can also put a small rig cheese bar on the side. That's optional accessory you can get. And then you get a bunch of screw holes to mount stuff to as well. Lots of mounting options. It was a lot of fun to design. I learned 3D modeling just to be able to do this, basically. And that was, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to learn that. I can actually show you how that, can I show you how that works? I don't know if I have the right number of cables connected to do that. But yeah, it was basically designed literally entirely on the iPad. So that is the thing that I used to do all the 3D modeling. I've purchased a PK1, that's the name of the stand. How long does it take to print on your design on the Prusa Mini Plus? The Mini Plus is exactly the right size to print it. I'll show you. This is the print bed from the Mini Plus. So if you look at it, it's too big. It is too wide for the stand. But if you print the parts at a diagonal, they're exactly the right size. So this top bar fits exactly. I actually had to cheat a little bit to make that work. And the bottom two long ones, if you print them standing up on their side like that, right next to each other, they'll fit perfectly diagonally. So you have to print it in two batches. You print the top bar and the sides in one batch, and then the bottom pieces in a second batch. And in total, it took about 11 hours, which is a long time, but it works. Oh, I should probably at this point add the link to the giveaway in the video description in case people are joining late. Okay, so yeah, now if you are joining late, that will be in the video description. I'll drop it in the chat too, just because. That's all the info about the giveaway. And at this point, I will tell you that the code has been shown on the stream at some point already, probably a few times. And yeah, so I am going to do a stand for the ATEM Mini Extreme. One of the challenges is that this top bar is, so it's the width of the ATEM Mini. That's the idea, is to be able to put stuff on top of it. And if I make it the width of the Extreme, I'm worried it's going to start bowing. I don't think it's strong enough at this thickness to not bend under the weight of whatever monitor you put on top once it gets 50% longer. So I'm probably going to have to put a support thing in the middle somehow. The problem is that all of the ports on, all of the ports on the back of the ATEM Mini are pretty close together, so I'm gonna have to get it to go right around the gap there. It's gonna be a bit of a challenge. And the other part of that is, like I said, this top piece is the maximum size that can fit on my printer. So I'm either gonna not be able to print it myself or have to design it in parts, more parts that get assembled in smaller pieces, which then starts to add a lot of considerations for how the structure supports itself, which will be a bit of a trick. How easy do you find it to read the teleprompter screen? My eyesight doesn't switch focus well from near to distance. I mean, yeah, this is not a big screen. Like, this is, it's a 7-inch screen that's sitting 5 feet away from me, so it's pretty small. But when I actually show text on it, then it ends up being, the text is huge, right? So if let me go route my little, where is that connected to? I think it's this one. Nope, I think it's, wow. My labels got all messed up when I threw everything. There we go. Now I can't see my multi-view. So this is what it looks like with text on it. See the end of a video I just recorded. This is actually coming from that little iPod down there. So it's just running HDMI out actually into the switcher so that I can then reassign it into here. And that's what it looks like. And I can read it fine from here. I have no problem reading this. It's very large text. You can see it's only a few lines on the screen, but that's great for the teleprompter. And then if I switch that back to the multi-view, yeah, it's a bit hard. I can't read the text in your chat message right now. I can recognize the name. I can read some of the words, but I don't need to be able to read the messages at that distance. It's fine for me to be able to just I know what's on the program feed. I know that the audio, I can see the audio bars and all that. So it's a bit small. I've been thinking about getting a larger screen for it and like a larger teleprompter. It gets very expensive and I'm not sure it's going to make enough of a difference to justify the extra, I don't know, several $100s it would be. So this has been working fine. Russell, thank you for the super chat and thanks for the congrats. Raise the bar and turn the cold shoe brackets into an I-beam bar, 2 bars connected together with a honeycomb shape. Yeah, it's going to be some engineering work to get this to work. I need your old ATEM Mini Pro. I'm going to sell one of them. I'm probably going to keep some of them too, though. I have too many. But I don't think I'm going to upgrade everything to the Extreme. Oh, there's your super chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. And oh yeah, if you do want to print this yourself, you can. I am selling the STL files as well, so you don't have to buy it pre-made if you have a printer yourself. Everything about that is at the link on my website, aaronpk.tv, and scroll down and there's links for the ATEM Mini stand with links to all of the products and accessories and screws and all of that. Please do cable management add-on for it. I'm stressed every time connecting the little brittle USB-C converters. So I found it difficult to do any kind of cable management built in because HDMI cables are all different thicknesses, the heads are different sizes. But this bar should give you mounting options for attaching other things to it. So I'm curious if you do end up rigging up some sort of cable management system that you could screw into this back thread that could sit over here or over here. I would love to see a picture of that. So that's kind of the idea of like, I can't make this fit everybody's use cases because there's so many different cables and things you connect to it. But that's why I put all these different options for things to attach to it. Yeah, strain relief. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, I built a case for the Pro and the Extreme, no problems, but the mains plug is slightly larger on the Extreme. I noticed that. The power supply of the Extreme is 60 watts, and it is physically quite a bit larger than the previous one for the Pro. Significantly larger. Like, it is definitely noticeable. And that is, yeah, if you're making cases and stuff that are a tight fit, it's gonna require some mods probably. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Looking forward to ATEM Extreme videos. I am also looking forward to my ATEM Extreme videos. I gave you a little sneak peek of some SuperSource stuff in this stream, but I'm going to do proper tutorials on all of that as well. Small rig has a number of cable clamps that mount to 1/4-inch holes. Perfect. That's why I put 1/4-inch holes on this. But yeah, I didn't do any photos of the small rig cable management parts, but I'm glad they actually have some. To bring a guest, you still need a streaming bridge, and then the guest needs ATEM Mini Pro. Yes. So yeah, the ATEM Extreme actually doesn't change anything about how remote guests are brought in. What it does change is what you can do with their videos, because you get SuperSource now, which means you can do 4-up. You can do like the 4-up layout with your guests, which is super cool. And you can use you can do 4 people side by side with that animated background if you want. And that was something that was previously only available to the very expensive models. That's what Joseph has at his studio, Photo Joseph, and that's why he was the one hosting all those group calls. But now I will be able to host them as well, which I'm looking forward to, and I didn't have to spend $5,000 on the switcher. Can you show the ATEM Mini beside the Extreme for a size comparison? Yeah, it is quite a bit larger. I will say that. So let me grab that and take you over to the Extreme. So here is the Extreme. It's kind of hard to tell how big it is. You can see it does not fit on my desk right now because I don't have a stand for it, but that is the Mini over top of it. I don't want to set it down because it'll probably push some buttons. So it's, I would say like 50% larger, right? It's like deeper, it's wider, 50% maybe dimensions in both directions. It's about the same thickness. So yeah, definitely requires some re-engineering for, oh, no, I'm out of sync again. Probably. No, maybe not. My audio is going through the Blackmagic camera. Anyway, yeah, it'll require some re-engineering of that stand. Where was that camera? I'm not sure Aaron is the one to ask about cable management. Fair enough. The floor is my cable management. It is wider than a MacBook. Yes, it is actually, in fact, wider than the 16-inch MacBook Pro. It does not fit in a sleeve for a laptop. Yep. If you missed the secret, don't worry. You can just replay the stream later. There seems to be a bug on the text of the lower thirds where the sides of the characters are transparent. Yeah, like I said, oh, you know what it is? It's the ones in the super chat. The font is different now. The font changed to be totally black instead of dark gray. That's what happened. Here's an idea for a video. I see, as many of us now have two ATEMs, it would be interesting to compare the functionality of the Extreme to two 4-input and companion with Stream Deck. Yeah, so I will say, SuperSource blows all of this out of the water. Like, I was doing pretty well with the two ATEM Minis, being able to do, show you the multi-view on the screen as well as get extra inputs in there before I had the SDI matrix. Then, but SuperSource knocks all of that out of the park. Like, no comparison anymore. Let me just go back over to here. And this is, now I'm using my computer at the desk again. So the SuperSource, because it's just another button I can press to switch to, this is what it looks like, where I can just show you my computer next to the, show you the ATEM software control next to me. Like, this is something you can't do with the ATEM Mini Pro. Okay, you can, that's technically not true. You can do this particular thing because if you have two ATEM Mini Pros, you can use the upstream key in each one to get this kind of layout. But what you can't do with two of them is add in a third box. So if I go and take let's take box 2 and, oh no, let's take box 1. Let me move myself. Nope, not that one. Move myself. Oh, right, my overlay. Let me throw the city loop back in the background. Okay, and go back to my box 1. So now I can scoot myself up. I can make myself smaller. And then I can now bring in, let's say, this camera. So I'm going to go make box 3, which is, oh, apparently on the hyperdeck, but we're going to set it to the wireless camera. Where's the wireless camera? Matrix 7. And now we can shrink that, scoot that over. And this is something you can't do with two ATEM Mini Pros because there's not enough sources to do it. Crop that too. So yeah, this is why I'm so excited about the Extreme, really, is the SuperSource being able to do 4 boxes with where you can resize any of the inputs, any of the outputs. Gives you so many options for super cool things. That is definitely the main difference. Is SuperSource background, if one of the sources, or you can have 4 talents and animated background. You can do 4 talent and animated background. So again, if I go back to SuperSource, also you get 2 downstream keyers. So you can see my downstream key is on with a chat. I can also bring that one in, which is, oh, nice, which is that graphic on the hyperdeck. And so 2 downstream keyers, and then you can do 4 video sources. So there's box 3. I can then say box 4 is, that's weird. Let me bring in the, what else do I have? Oh, I have my other roving camera running out of room on the screen for all this. But yeah, you can see I've got that box back there now, right? Where I can just move that around. It looks like I can't change the layering order, which is interesting. So I can't tell box 4 to be on top. It looks like box 4 is on the bottom. But yeah, I've got 4 separate screens plus the animated background. And 2 downstream keyers. Where can you get the plate that's in the rack next to send to the HyperDeck Mini? It's actually a Blackmagic. They sell it. They sell like a little blank insert. And that is it's this little thing. So I, of course, painted it white. Where's my focus? So I painted that white, of course, but it is actually something that Blackmagic sells. Can you use chroma key on the left image at the same time? Yeah, so can you SuperSource and upstream key? Can you do that? Box 1 is main, but I can't also upstream key it. I don't see a way to do that. That's interesting. Nope. Upstream key, I can chroma key. Which one? I had 3 set up. I can chroma key myself. Yeah. I know, I don't see a way to do that. I successfully powered my HyperDeck Studio Mini with the Netgear 5 port gigabit PoE switch, and it's running quietly with the Noctua fan I installed. Oh, that's awesome. That's the exact same setup I have now. So I actually swapped out the power cord to power it from my my switch back there, my Unify switch back there, and it is now being powered over PoE, which is super cool. One less power cord running to the ground, and the yeah, I replaced the fans, which made it basically silent. Did I miss a super chat question? I'm sorry. Looking forward to ATEM Mini Extreme videos. I don't see it, but can you use SuperSource and the 4 upstream keyers at the same time? Kind of. So there's the limit here is that there are 2. Let me get rid of box 4. That's distracting. There are 2 DVE thingies inside, which are independent of SuperSource. So DVE is the one that lets you do, with your upstream key, positioning, scaling, adding a border, and all that. So here, upstream key 2 will grab the matrix 11, which is my table shot, and turn that on. So this is now upstream key 2 is doing this box, which I can scale and position, which is what you get in the ATEM Mini Pro. So, that's fine. But there are only 2 of these. So, and they are independent of SuperSource. So I can turn that on. I can go to upstream key 1 and make it also DVE2. Let's just use, running out of sources. Let's use color bars, turn that on. So I can do that. And I can move that one around independently. And that's, again, independent of SuperSource. So if I switch back to this, I still, those are still on air, right? So that one's just toggling off when I switch cameras. Anyway, I am now out of DVEs. So if I go to upstream key 4 and try to do DVE, it's not going to let me choose it because I'm out of them, right? It's being used by these 2. It's nothing to do with SuperSource though. But if I want to change those to all chroma keys, I can do that. So I can chroma key the chat, for example, which is going to be black. So I don't really need to use. Let me do a Luma key for that. Luma key the chat and bring that on air, and then where's my, what's going on? I'm editing upstream key 2. That's why. Luma key the chat, upstream key. Yep. So I probably want to crop that, mask out the top. Okay, you get the idea. And I can do this 4 times. I can use all 4 upstream keyers for Luma key. There, giant mess of a picture. But the, how do I show you my computer screen? Upstream key 4, upstream key 3. There, so you can see all 4 are on. And technically the SuperSource is also on, even though the upstream keys are all covering it up. But yeah, you only get 2 DVEs, but you do get to use all 4 upstream keyers. It would take a lot to actually use all of those effectively, in my opinion. So you can have 7 guests and you. Okay. Yeah, because if let me shrink my SuperSource of my computer screen, which is box 2. So I shrink that one to make room. I can then use 2 of the upstream keys. Oh, upstream, no, I still have SuperSource 4. All right. So there's another guest. Let me just actually make that the same one as my face. There we go. So SuperSource is making all of those. And I can still use 2 upstream keys with DVE to bring in more guests. There's one, and there's another. And now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 4 from the SuperSource, 2 from the upstream keys. So I've got 6 windows on top of a background, and the background can't be scaled at this point. So for the background, I wouldn't be able to, like, you could put a guest there, but probably not realistically, because they would have to be like way off to the side or something weird. So, but yeah, 6 people on screen using the 2 upstream keyers, 2 DVEs to scale those, and 1 and 4 from the SuperSource. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Get rid of that one. Lynn, thanks for the super chat. Love the jacket. I'm watching you from my flight to the East Coast. Wow. Good luck with the flight. I have not flown in. It has now been officially a year, 365 days since I have been on a plane, which I now officially miss. For SuperSource, 2 DVEs. Yes. is all me. I don't have people calling in today. What was the name of the software on your iPad to stream or to design the ATEM stand? That is actually, that one is called Shaper 3D, and that is very cool software. Let me see if, where did I plug that in? I plugged in my iPad to this matrix somewhere. I did a bad job of labeling these. That was the mistake I made. I can see it's going into one of the inputs somewhere. Yeah, I need to spend some time organizing all this stuff. Yep. Your cityscape background could do with the camera stabilization. That's the point. The point is that it's not stable. What limitations have you discovered besides 8 inputs? I would say there's obviously a bunch of limits to it. One of the things that caught me off guard was the fact that there are 4 upstream keyers, but only 2 DVEs. So you can do 4 green screen layers, you can do 4 Luma key layers using the upstream keyers, but you can't do 4 DVEs with the upstream keyers. That was a little bit confusing, but once you understand that, it makes perfect sense. Have you found out how to use the logo and sting keys on the Extreme? So yeah, there is this suspicious little button over here on the ATEM Mini, logo and sting. So first of all, this top row is all about assigning sources to destinations to sources. It's kind of like actually like the SDI matrix, except it's built into the Mini. So you can choose, you have physical buttons now for saying, like, what video source do you want to use as DVE1? Like right now it's camera 1 is what it's set to. But I can also say like DVE2 is set to camera 7. There's a button over here called logo, which is set to media player 2. And there's also one called sting, which doesn't do anything when you press it. As far as I can tell, this is a feature coming in a future firmware update. Otherwise, they would not have made a physical button for it. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what their plan is for that button. However, logo does do something in the software, but it is kind of obscure. It is in the, oh my God, I need to fix my SuperSource. Get rid of box 4, get rid of box 3, and let's bring this back. Size. Oh, I totally messed it up because I have that perfect overlay for it too. Oh well. Okay, well, we're not going to do the overlay with it. Just make that a little bigger. So logo, if you look at transitions, when I press the logo button, it's going to change what fill source is used in the DVE transition. So as I'm pressing the button over here on the Mini, you can see that is changing. This is because I'm pressing the buttons on the ATEM Mini. And what that does is for the DVE transitions, which basically means you can like swipe. Let me see, I can actually do it live. So I'm going to cue my main camera, and then media player 2 is, that's not a good idea. Let's do media player 1. We'll see what happens. It's going to be weird. Oh, I need to actually tell it to use the DVE transition. There we go. So it takes a graphic and it slides it over the image, right? Which would look a lot better if the graphic made more sense. For example, if it were just this blue one. Let me just do this really quick. So this is going to be, ignore my horrible photoshopping. What I would actually go and do this, with a real tool or something. But this is good enough to get the point across. Let me make this graphic. So we've got a sort of diagonal line, right? So I'm going to export this to the media pool. We'll call it diagonal into slot 11, set it to media player 2. And now when I use that as the fill source, oh, Okay, set. There we go. Now I've got my own custom wipe with my own graphic. Like, I made that in Photoshop, right? I could do a lot more fancy stuff there too. One idea I had was, let's see, what is it called? Gradient test export. I think this should be in here. Yeah. This will be weird. Warning. I'm going to take my face and put it in the transition. And let's make this a little bit less of a disaster by doing that to blend the edges. Okay. And export this to diagonal pre-multiply. And now when I go and do the DVE transition, woohoo! Get rid of the downstream key. Now I scroll across the screen, which is kind of fun. But no, so that is a still image stinger, not animated. And so yeah, normally in like the larger ATEMs, you get in addition to the media pool, you get a video pool. It's like a video clip pool. So in here you would get the ability to load in a couple of, usually small number of still frames into the video pool, which will then play all the frames out while it does the transition. So it's not meant for like video playback, but it is for, you know, stingers, animated stingers. So there is no animated media pool in the software yet. So I don't know if that means that there is a hardware for it in memory in the device that they just haven't written the software for yet, or if it just completely doesn't exist and we'll never get it. But the fact that there's that sting button on there is like, what is that? What is their plan? Could you do a video stinger with the hyperdeck? You absolutely could, yeah. So for example, let's see, I think I've got my little explosion, 20K explosion loaded in there. So if I go back to here, I'm on the transition DVE, right? And if I change this to the hyperdeck, which is plugged into 4, we're gonna do pre-multiply. It's gonna be not perfect. When I do the wipe now, it's going to tell the hyperdeck to play that clip. So, it happened so fast that the explosion didn't go. But if I change that to 2, and I should probably hit preview so that it changes to something else. Yeah. That animation is so long. Let's do 3 seconds. Oh, what happened? It didn't play that time. And go. There it goes. So yeah, animated stinger using the hyperdeck. So that's just, obviously that is not something I'm going to do live, but you could definitely create a video stinger along the lines of the Photoshop one that I made with, you know, keyframes in it so that it actually is animated, and then load that into the hyperdeck. And that would totally work. I just have that 20K explosion already loaded up, which is the only short clip in there that I think makes sense as a stinger. It's really amazing to be able to do this with gear in this price category. That is exactly true. The fact that this thing is $1,000, it has all these features in it, is completely unheard of. So this, again, this is like, this stuff is not new, right? Like, these features are not new. Blackmagic has had hardware that does this for ages, but it's always been $4,000 or $8,000 or whatever. So yeah, I can't wait till next week to see how you arrive. We've had beaming in and exploding in, so I have to look forward to your latest stinger. I have set myself up for a real challenge now of changing how I show up in the live stream now every week. We will see what happens. We will see what happens. Could the stinger be a macro call for the hyperdeck stinger then? Well, it's part of the select bus. That's the confusing part to me. That's why I am confused, is that it's part of the select bus, not like one of the sources or layout options. So it's meant to reassign some input to this, whatever the sting function is in the device, which as far as I can tell is disabled. Like if you look at the software control in this transition, there is a stinger tab here. It's just grayed out and I can't click it. I can choose wipe, I can choose DVE. I can't choose it, but it's there. And it's confusing because like, oh, there's, SuperSource only exists in some switchers, right? So they just don't show it to you even grayed out. They don't show it in the ATEM Mini Pro because it's not there. But it's suspicious to me that it's here but grayed out. So maybe that means it actually is in the hardware and we will get to use it later through a firmware update. I wouldn't hold my breath for that, but that is something. Yeah, that's an interesting possibility. 2 hour stream today, Sunday is great. It has been 2 hours, but hey, you know what? This is 20K live stream. So will the ATEM Mini Pro support GIF animations? No. The ATEM Mini Pro probably not, no. The Extreme, that's the one that we are thinking might have this. It's secretly hidden away in the hardware. What software did you use to make your wiring diagram? That is called H2R Gear. That is it is still in beta. It's not live, but it is h2rgear.com. I'll drop a link to that chat since the landing page is nice now. Cool. Yeah, let me see. What else was I going to talk about today? Oh yeah, one of the other really funny things that I noticed about the Extreme is, so because it has 2 USB ports, you can actually connect it to 2 different computers, which I guess makes sense. It just weirds me out. And it's cool, like you can use it as a webcam on 2 different computers now, but that's what I need the animation for. Let me cue that up. Downstream key. Number 1, not using it right now. Hyperdeck. Okay. This might just work. Yeah, okay. So let me scrub. Let's see. Let me scrub to where the explosion starts and then hide it. And then go back to here. And you can connect to 2. You can connect the ATEM Mini Extreme to 2 separate computers. Mind blown. You're welcome. How come there's not much delay between you and chat? Because I have given up scrolling back through the chat and I am now live. And it's streaming in ultra low latency. Definitely too much champagne. No, actually, you know what? Not enough. It's too much coffee. That is the problem. What are your thoughts on the ATEM Mini Extreme? I mean, so far, I'm impressed. It has been fantastic. It is pretty much everything I expected it to be. So the SuperSource I am the most excited about. And the headphone jack is nice. Having 8 inputs, so much more flexible. One of the things that I was always limiting about my use of the Pro with 4 inputs is that it means when I want to quickly switch between like showing you this layout, showing a camera, showing the, the other camera and all that, like it ends up, I have to reassign the inputs using the matrix, but now I've got 8, so I can have 8 things ready to go all the time, including one for the chat, one for the hyperdeck. And those are just always there. One of the other really cool things is that the downstream key, there's 2 of them. So I pretty much just, what I used to do with the other one was, there's only one downstream key. So if I wanted to use it for graphics, I would have to swap out, hide the chat, and then swap what is feeding the downstream key to whatever source the graphics coming in. And if I want to show the chat again, swap it back. And now I've just had downstream key 2 dedicated to chat this whole time. So if you look at the, I'll show you my multi-view again. If you look at the multi-view, that chat window is what's on my computer screen, and it's set to downstream key 2. And it's been like that the entire time. I haven't had to turn it on and off at all, which is a lot more freeing. And now I still have downstream key 1 available to do silly stuff like this. And of course, I can also then, switch to SuperSource and still have the chat over top. It's just, yeah, it's so amazing. There's so much more stuff you can do with it now, which is fantastic. Can you record to 2 different USB drives? I don't think you can record the same thing. I don't think you can record in parallel. It's not like when it shows up as a webcam to both, but you can plug in multiple drives. It'll then switch recording to one or the other when you like unplug one or choose which drive. You can connect both USB to the same computer, but it's buggy for me and I can't assign a separate output from what I can tell. Yeah, no, the USB out, webcam out is the program feed. Like you don't get to choose what goes out over USB. It is the program feed, and you get two USB outs, 2 webcam outs, but they are both program. Is there a possibility to connect cameras without the cable, some Wi-Fi connection? Yes, that is what I am doing here. So my rig is starting to break down from all my poor handling of it. But this is the Hollyland Wireless 300 Pro. And it's a transmitter, and it's sending back to a receiver that's in the back there. And that way I can show you this camera. Nope, that camera, which is the wireless camera. Is the HyperDeck stream being keyed to black? Does that make the graphics semi-transparent? Yes, it is. This is not a perfect, that was not by any means a perfect key. So if I load this up and pause partway in the middle and show you, you'll see what I mean. Oh, right, when it's set to autoplay. So I'm gonna pause it there. This is because I have pre-multiplied key turned on. If I turn off pre-multiplied key, you'll see that it is doing a hard edge now, and I lose the transparency, which is actually looks worse. So this looks worse to me than having it be sort of incorrect, where I can no longer fully cover the image, right? So like this is almost completely white. It should have been solid, but I lose that because I'm using pre-multiplied for its not at all intended purpose. The real solution to this is to send 2 outputs from the HyperDeck, key and fill, where if you look at the SuperSource config or downstream key config, if I ran this second HyperDeck into this as well, I could send it the key source to the other one. So actually, let me do that. Which one am I going to eat up? Matrix 11. So I'm going to reassign Matrix 11 to there. I'm going to reassign it to HyperDeck key. Oh, I didn't make this video with, I didn't make this video with the alpha channel. Yeah. This is just a white screen on the fill channel. But I do have another video that has an alpha. Not that one. This one has an alpha channel. Okay. my countdown timer. So right now we're using fill and key as the same, just the countdown, right? Which is why like the inside of the numbers you can see through, because that's black, so it's being keyed out. It's actually not quite black, but it's close enough that it, when in pre-multiply mode, it gets keyed out. If I switch out of pre-multiplied, I can now adjust it so that because I made it slightly above black, I can key out the black, but keep the numbers visible. But if I instead switch key source to matrix 11, now I'm still in pre-multiply mode, and now it's doing a perfect key because, let me show you the multi-view. Take a look at on the screen, there's hyperdeck in the, I can't really point to it. Rightmost second from the bottom square, that's the hyperdeck fill. And then matrix 11 is the hyperdeck key. And that's got the alpha channel where only where that's white is what you're going to see through it. So now it's doing a perfect key. And of course it's animated too. Like I just happen to not be animating the key channel because they are still circles in there, but that can move as well. And I don't have the alpha channel on the other graphic. Like if I show the, so if I show you the, where is it? Oh, that's the transporter one. Fill and key are the same, so it's being weird. This is the 20K. You can see that the fill channel is white, so it's showing you, it's taking over the screen, right? Which is not really what I wanted for that. I just apparently didn't export that with the alpha channel. But this one has the alpha channel, and that lets you do graphics even better. And then you can do detailed transparency. How do I get back to that one? And let me reassign 11 back to the table camera and turn off the downstream key. And what's in my media pool is my DVE transition still set up. Transition, DVE, media player. Bloop. Oh, forgot to hit preview on my main camera. Bloop. There we go. Okay. What are your thoughts on the Rodecaster Pro? I need some more of this. What are your thoughts on the Rodecaster Pro with ATEM Mini? I have not used a Rodecaster Pro myself. However, I have heard people who have it really like it. I've also heard people who have it think it's overpriced. So take that for what you will. On Hollyland Road and Aputure, I'm pretty sure Hollyland posted it. So I think Aputure may have only done it in a story, not in their main feed. Have they expanded the media pool yet? Still only 20. I have not done a video on key and fill. Apparently I should. Do you think SuperSource will be practical for YouTube production? I suspect people who watch on mobile devices would whine about everything being too small. Yeah, I mean, if you turn your phone sideways, it gets to be a reasonable size. But I think for multi-person shows, it's super useful. You know, this, yeah, the screen gets a little bit small when it's shrunk down. But for 4 faces in a grid, they're totally big enough to see on a phone even. You mostly just need the audio for that anyway. Why can you connect multiple hard drives through a hub, but not use the same hub to hook it up as a webcam and a hard drive at the same time? So think of this as, with USB-C, it gets confusing because the cables are the same on both ends. But if you think back to older USB, the cables are different on each end. So looking around for a USB cable, I don't have one handy. The rectangle side, the large rectangle side, is what you plug into a hub, and then the other side is going to be like micro USB or the large ugly square one. And that was intentional. Like that design of having those be directional, that was very intentional design in USB, and it makes a lot of sense. And then if you think about it, you can't plug in, so like a device that is a webcam will have the flat rectangle, And then in order to plug it into a computer, you plug it into the corresponding socket. The ATEM, if it weren't USB-C, it would have had the other connector, the large square one, or like micro USB, which like the cables don't line up. They can't connect. And pre-USB-C, that was a lot easier to understand. With USB-C, they kind of ruined all of that sort of intuition by making all the connectors the same. And now it's like, well, what do you mean I can't connect it? They physically connect together. Why doesn't this work? It just doesn't work that way. And the reason is because it has to do with one is acting as a controller, like hosting the other as a guest. And the ATEM can only do one or the other at a time. So a USB port is either going to be a guest to some other device, or it's going to be the host of some other device. So in webcam mode, the ATEM is the guest to your computer. And in hard drive mode, the ATEM is hosting the hard drive. And it can't do both of those operations at the same time. That is the answer. You can't end the stream until you finish the whole bottle. I mean, I'm here for this if you are. We can do that. Are you aware of any Extreme ISOs being shipped to the US? I have one on order with DVE Store. I also have one on order through DVE Store, and I have not heard of them shipping to the US yet. I have the Rodecaster Pro, cannot live without it. I have mix minus on 2 colors. So mix minus is a very cool feature of the Rodecaster Pro. A lot of people are happy with it. And then Roland says, anybody who uses it is fell for the hype and bought an overpriced piece of junk. Yeah, I don't know. This is what I mean. Like, I haven't tried one myself, and there seem to be very strong opinions about that device. So, can the studio run completely on 12 volt DC batteries? Absolutely not. I have too many monitors in here to run everything on batteries. At some point, I will build a mobile rig out of all this stuff, though. So once I have somewhere to go to shoot something out of the studio. By the way, the giveaway, when we announced the winner on the stream. Where's my microphone? Switching back to the table. Audio still on? Yes. When we announce the winner on the live stream in 2 weeks, not next Sunday, but the Sunday after, I am going to do that live stream from the YoloBox itself. And I have not yet decided whether I'm going to do that from the studio here or like go outside. So it probably will depend a lot on the weather, but I also haven't found a good excuse to go outside for that. The excuse I used last time was there was a fire nearby and the air was full of smoke, so it was dramatic looking, which was kind of fun. But without that, I feel like, I don't know, it seems weird to just like go to a park. But let me know what you think. Do the picture color settings work with the ATEM Mini with Blackmagic cameras or with everything? Only Blackmagic cameras. It's actually just a controller. It tells the camera to do stuff. It's not doing any of the color processing in the ATEM Mini. So it's actually just an interface to tell the camera to change the colors internally. Thank you. Thank you for watching. What video editing software and settings do you use to export video with Alpha Channel for the HyperDeck? What video format? Yeah, ProRes 4444. Oh, that's... I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I'm trying to remember why that clip didn't have the Alpha Channel. But a couple programs I use are Apple Motion. So that one will do it, which is actually what I did the explosion graphic in because it had a bunch of pre-made stock graphics or little stock animations. And Apple Motion, I've also done it through, oh, this is what happened. When I added the sound, I brought it into DaVinci Resolve to add the sound effect because I can't figure out how to add sounds in Apple Motion. It is a terrible interface. And then in Resolve, I did not output 4444. So that was my mistake. That's why the alpha channel is missing. The alpha channel should be there in the original. So the Resolve can do it. Premiere can do it. Also, strangely, Keynote can do it. And Keynote is kind of a neat little hack way to do motion graphics. It has some basic animation capabilities in it, and it is like actually surprisingly useful. So let me actually show you that. I should be able to go to SuperSource. Oh, wrong camera in box 1. Let's switch this to, so this is why I need macros for all this. I need macros to reassign all my SuperSource things. So, okay, let me show you Keynote. In here, I've got, this is how I make my thumbnails, just because, I don't know, it's easy. But I've been experimenting with some motion graphics in here as well. So if I, for example, do, let's swap that. There we go. So this is some animated graphics. Okay, so the idea is that it would slide in, and then this black is supposed to be transparent. And if you go and export slide 51, export movie self-playing from 51 to 51, resolution 1080p custom, frame rate 1920 1080. You have to choose ProRes 4444, and then you can do export with transparent backgrounds. So if I do this, transition, now Preview knows how to preview it with the transparency. Did you catch that? So watch, when it goes out, you'll see, oh, apparently it didn't go out. But you can see here, it's transparent, and it's showing me what's behind. And if I load that into the hyperdeck, it'll show up with the alpha channel, which I can then key out in the ATEM, which is very, very cool. Yeah, Keynote. I think it's a clever hack. Okay, what else? Between the ATEM Mini Extreme and TV Studio HD, which would you recommend for a live production which is not situated at a particular location, like on the go? You know, at this point, I wouldn't recommend the TV Studio HD for anything. It's missing too many features. It's missing the streaming encoder. It's missing the scalers. I would not recommend it. It's not a new device either. It's been around for several years. I have it. That's why I used for most of my on-location shoots. So I built into the fly case for, I bring on my bike. I guess I should call it a bike case. And, you know, it's great, but the ATEM Mini line just is leaps and bounds better now. So definitely go with ATEM Mini Extreme, especially with 8 inputs, which is what the TV Studio HD has. Yes, it has SDI, but you know, what can you do? When is the next show with Photo Joseph? Good question. We are aiming for, oh my gosh, it's really raining outside. Just hear the rain pounding on the walls. We were aiming for monthly, so we have not yet scheduled it, but keep an eye out on the channel. Subscribe to my newsletter, which apparently is broken. I will fix that. Apparently it's been broken for a week. I haven't had any new subscribers since February 27th. I will fix that, and then you can subscribe. It's on aaronpk.tv at the bottom. More of a fan of the Zoom P4 or P8. I agree. I agree. Can't run on batteries, get a larger UPS. I do have 3 UPSs in here now. I have one for my core networking gear, which is the router, the big network switch, the fiber modem, the cameras, security cameras. I have a second one for my like servers in here, like the backup server, file server, and all that. And I have one at my desk also, which powers both monitors, all the SDI matrix, all that stuff. It powers that for like, I want to say 20 minutes, which is definitely enough to get through like the brief outages that happen here, which, knock on wood, we haven't lost power yet here today, which is unusual. And it is a little bit windy, so I hope I'm not jinxing that. But, yep. The Rodecaster Pro is somehow emotional and nobody knows why. I agree. They did a very good job marketing it. I don't have any opinions on it because I haven't actually tried it myself. I've just heard opinions on dramatically both sides of the spectrum. If it works for you, that's great. Whatever, you know? Vistech in Canada told me my Extreme ISO will ship April 20th. I hope that is not true. That is a long time from now. I have the Extreme ISO on pre-order in the UK and no sign of it yet. I also use the Rodecaster Pro and I love it. There you go. Video pros use ATEMs, audio pros use the Fairlight FX in the ATEM. Yeah. I don't know. On the ATEM Mini Extreme, can you input 4K and will it down convert, or do you have to down convert to 1080 first? I haven't actually tested it on the Extreme. I know in the Pro, in the regular ATEM Minis, it does not input 4K. I don't think they added 4K inputs, otherwise they would have probably mentioned it. So I think you still do have to downscale it first. Thank you for joining. I have a video linked down below that talks about exactly this. It goes through the whole setup. But the short answer to how am I getting the chats to show up is it's a Chrome extension, reformatting the YouTube chat window. Is the AV Matrix HVS0402U any good? It has a couple of cool features. I've played around with it a little bit. I still need to do my proper review of it. Keep an eye out because I will be talking about that more. Broadcast from outside sounds great. I wonder where I would go. That is the question. Can I write a chat for Facebook Live? No. I refuse to use Facebook. I have quit Facebook. I am using Instagram only because I have to. I actually made a new Instagram account because my regular Instagram account got shut down. They think I'm a bot. And I made a new one for just YouTube stuff. And it's AaronPK_TV because, true story, Instagram's terms of service explicitly say you cannot use a domain name as a username, which I have a serious problem with. I should be allowed to use AaronPK.TV as a username on Instagram because it is my website, and dots are allowed in usernames. So, yeah, but I can't because I don't want to get my account shut down. So, yep. Is it possible to run the whole studio with portable monitors from a car on 12 volt DC? It's definitely possible. You definitely can make totally portable rigs. And definitely possible to run everything off 12 volts, car power or battery power. I want to build I want to get like I don't have a car. I don't own a car. I have no desire to own a car. But I do have bicycles, and I do have the bicycle with the large rack behind it to set stuff on. And I want to I want to build some sort of case, probably rack mount case for throwing video gear onto and use that for streaming. Although the YoloBox, frankly, makes that idea pretty much obsolete because the YoloBox does it all built into one tiny little thing and makes it just a lot easier. I expect the ATEM TV Studio HD to be replaced soon. I agree. I will say, I'm going to show this picture again. Wrong window. So here is my thoughts on this. Where is my SuperSource? SuperSource. So again, if you look at ATEM production switchers and you look at the color of the products, it's all this dark gray, dark gray, dark gray, dark gray, dark gray, light gray. And then the Constellation is the new one, dark gray. I think these are getting updated first. These have been out for a long time. They need to be updated. They're missing a ton of stuff. And they need to be updated with features of the ATEM Mini. Some features. Probably not going to do streaming at this point. But I think these are going to get updated before this tier, because this tier is newer. And then I would expect eventually something like this to show up with probably the streaming built in. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's all speculation. Nobody knows what Blackmagic has in mind. That was the wrong button. There we go. And I saw a super chat come in. Thank you, Angelo. I appreciate it. Just because you're a good teacher, I appreciate it. Thank you. At this point, teaching actually is my job. So I'm glad to know that some people think that I do a good job of that. Only time I was in Portland, there was a beautiful tea garden, stream in tranquility. Oh, that's an idea. The Chinese garden downtown? They probably have some sort of rule about, like, I don't know, not sitting in front of a camera talking to yourself for an hour in their gardens. I like the idea. There are public parks I can go to that are pretty, that would not have those rules. I'm hoping DJI integrates a live streaming function in their drones one day. Now you need the smart controller for it. Yeah, didn't their DJI Pocket 2 add streaming built into it? Because if that's the case, that's a sign they could definitely do it in the drone itself. I do think that the odds of doing it in the drone are probably less, because to do streaming to the internet, it needs an internet connection. So an internet connection has to be provided over probably Wi-Fi, and a Wi-Fi signal from a flying object is going to be worse than the specialized thing they're doing to get the video signal down to the controller. And I think that they can optimize better the link between the video feed going to the controller than they can optimize a video encoding for the internet stream going from the drone to Wi-Fi. That's probably the reason they do it that way. So I don't think it's a bad idea either. Like, you know, I could even see the option of them building a smart controller with Ethernet built in so that you drop one of the wireless connections. One less wireless link. Did I already reveal the secret code? I did. Several times. It is hiding somewhere in this stream. If you are just joining, the way to enter the giveaway is to go to the link in the description of the video or in the chat that I just dropped. And there's a bunch of things to do there. One of them is currently broken, which is subscribing to my mailing list, but it will be fixed later when I can fix it. And it'll give you a bunch of these things to do, and each thing you do gives you a certain number of entries. And once you do these, it will unlock more, including things like sending a photo of your rigs to me on Twitter. And I keep clicking that because it says main, and I'm not at that table anymore. And one of them is subscribing to me on YouTube. One is subscribing to my email list, which I will fix. And one of them is finding the secret code in this video, which has now been revealed many times, and I'm not going to tell you where it is, but it is in here somewhere. I named them wrong, but that should be fixed now. You should see a prompt that says enter the code from March 7th and enter the code from March 14th. And they're going to be in the wrong order, but find the one from March 7th, which is today, unless you're in Australia or watching this in the future, enter the code for March 7th, and I do see that 79 people have found it already. So I know at least some of you have figured it out. Also, go comment on the entries, on the posts from YoloLive, Aputure Road, Hollyland, either their stories or their posts on Instagram. Some of them are up right now. Some might be coming soon over the course of the next week. Those are also count as entries. Can you use the YoloBox and not stream live, still record? Yes, the recording and streaming functions on the YoloBox are separate. And you can start recording on the SD card without going live. You do need an internet connection to like start the thing up, which is a little bit annoying. I kind of wish it was a completely offline thing. They expect you to use it for live streaming. It's not meant to be just a recorder. So normally you have an internet connection, it's fine. Wildfires, internet failures, power cuts, snow drifts, now heavy rain. When is the plague of frogs due? You know what? I don't even want to go there. For mobile, I've decided the Jackery Explorer 1000 is my friend. Jackery Explorer 1000. What is this? I'm guessing it's a battery. Gigantic battery is $1,000 battery. That's awesome. That's very expensive. What was the name of the 3D program for iPad? It is called Shaper 3D. Oh, can we see a full tour of your office? I didn't actually give you a full tour yet. I am bad. I put that in the title of the video. Okay, we're gonna do a full tour. My battery died again. Rotating through camera batteries. Okay, I am starting a studio tour, dropping that in the chat because I want to be able to find this timestamp later when I build the table of contents. At some point I'm going to automate the table of contents building, but right now it's all manual, and I've just given myself quite a job. Okay, charge that battery. Let me scroll back in the chat so I can see if whoever thumbs down this video stream is odd. Like the stream. Yes, give this video a thumbs up. Okay, here we go with the studio tour. I don't even know where to start. So let's start here. I'm going to be out of sync, but that's fine because I'm not going to be on camera much. I'm going to do it POV style. So this is what I look at. Normally there's a keyboard and mouse here where I use the computer. And I've talked about this, but all of my screens are routed through this matrix. So the SDI matrix here lets me reassign any inputs, any video sources to any audio sources or video sources. So monitor or ATEM Mini. And that means that I've got video sources, right? I've got like a camera up there. I've got a computer. I've got a hyperdeck. So I've got my computer monitor routed through there, up into there. And I can also make that one my second computer monitor. Right now it's multiview. So this is where I stream from. And then if you pan over here, this is where I film videos at. I realized I should probably switch my giant monitor over here so I can see what I'm doing. Table monitor is now multiview. This monitor takes a little bit to sync up. There we go, come on, there we go. Now I can see what I'm showing you when I move around the room. So this is the table I film stuff at. It's a bit of a mess right now because I have been filming my ATEM Mini stand and all the little parts for it, all the little small rig brackets. This setup, I've got my main key light, And it's actually in the wrong spot right now. I looked at my last video, it was too dark, but that's my main light. Here, camera's the Blackmagic Pocket 4K with a teleprompter, which again, that monitor is connected into the whole thing, so I can choose whether that's going to be a multiview right now, or it can be a teleprompter input, or it can be like for my teleprompter on my iPhone, iPod. I can make it a computer monitor if I want to show Zoom calls up there. And then I've got this other light over here, which is usually pointing down at the table for lighting products on here. And that ends up giving a pretty decent light for things on the table. And then the last lighting thing at that desk, if I come around here, you'll see up at the top, I've got stuff mounted to the ceiling. And I've got a light shining backwards, which is lighting up my hair at this angle. And then so yeah, main camera is the Pocket 4K. I've got a LUT on there that makes it look like the G7. And then make sure I can see the chat. And then I've got this other camera up here overhead, which I actually haven't used on the stream because I ran out of inputs and I don't have my macros set up. But you can see it's a nice little top-down shot. Focus. A little top-down shot of the table, so I can demo stuff at the table or use it to actually film product review videos and stuff like that. So those are the two main cameras I have here. I've got this tripod over here, which kind of I sometimes put a camera on, or I'll just set this tripod that I'm holding on the table here to kind of get a shot like that at an angle. And I'll use that shot sometimes in these videos. So that's that desk. And then, yeah, you know all about my my streaming table with my G7 camera. This is the little webcam I've been testing out, which is kind of fun. Follows me around the room. And I haven't actually used that on a Zoom call yet, but I'm looking forward to doing that. At this table, the lighting and sound, the light this is actually the same one that's on the table. It came in a set of 2. So that's the main key light for this shot, and then the microphone is the Movo VXR 10 in pink. They also sell it in black, and that is wired directly into the camera. Oh, I forgot to mention audio over here. Audio over here is, I'm actually pretty pleased with this setup. So my overhead camera is mounted on this boom pole, and I was like, I had the camera, and then I also had like this giant arm with the microphone, and I was like, this sucks. It's too annoying. And I was like, oh, what if I just clamped the microphone head onto the same arm? Because it's basically in the right spot for it. So this is just attached directly to the same pole that's holding the camera, and then the cables run along that down below. That microphone is connected to this Zoom recorder, which I know this has been a great recorder, the Zoom F6. I am very jealous of everybody who has the Mix Pre 3, and we'll see if I end up switching to that later, because that looks nice too. How long can the Hollyland wireless HD work with the battery you use? Learned a lot from this channel, thank you. The Hollyland, this battery has been on the stream the whole time, and it is at 7.6 volts. It started at 7.9. Sorry, my audio is probably out of sync. The battery has been on this whole time. It has been on. So we are currently at almost 3 hours. No problem. Okay, what's next? There's that table. I've got my little shelf over here, which is partially decorative and partially functional. Most of the stuff in the top is decorative. So I usually put the original ATEM Mini down there just for show. The light that changes colors based on Super Chat. This is purely decorative at this point. I keep considering whether I want to take out the screen and replace it with a Raspberry Pi screen, or try to get that CRT working somehow. Haven't yet done that. I have my stack of boxes from all the SDI converters, which I think they're mostly out of the boxes. There's a few left in those. And then the top is actually mostly storage because it's normally not in the shot. but up on the top there's like extra lights, also my sliders. It's a bit of a mess. And then down below is mostly functional. So down below is my printer, 3D printer, and I have a little light which I turn on sometimes. Where is it? This is, where's the switch? It's stuck up on there with a magnet. There we go. So just magnetic, and that lights that up. I've actually got a little camera down here so I can switch, that's again routed into the matrix so I can show you what's printing on the stream. I can also just live stream it printing stuff. And then, yeah, that's the Prusa Mini Plus. And then up there is a battery station / tiny little counter with a cover I 3D printed. Charging station with a whole bunch of short USB cords, all in white. I've got the Rode Wireless Go charging. I've got my camera battery charging, other batteries, iPads. Got the little, this thing which I'm actually not using today, which I probably should have been using today. Macro controller, battery station, and then that box, ignore that, and there's all the filament for the printer. What else? Okay, that's that shelf. This camera is, the camera that I'm using right now to show you around the room is the ZV-1, Sony ZV-1. The autofocus on it is fantastic, which is the main reason I use it for this. Okay, then, other features of the room. So you'll notice that there's these sound thingies. I'm not a huge fan of them, I will admit. They were the original sound panels I got, and I originally just had them in grids of 2x3. On poster board. So if you look behind, you'll see they're actually on poster board, and that is a lot easier to attach to the wall because I can attach a large chunk at a time or hang the poster board on things. So I used to hang them on these little stands, and they do a good job, but I don't like the look of them. I just haven't, I haven't done, what I really want to do is get panels that actually match the design of the shape of the space. So you might notice that, let me see if I can back up into the corner. It's a little bit messy, but you notice that like the paint on the walls is at these angles, and it matches the ceiling lights also at those angles. And then they go to the corner, and then I've got this blue going at that angle, meeting up at that corner. So I want to get sound panels that like actually match that shape better, but I don't have those, and it takes a long time to build those. So in the meantime, I was like, well, if I turn these things, if I chop off 2 and turn them into squares and then rotate the squares, they turn into diamonds, which at least is kind of close. And that ends up being better than not having them and less work than actually building proper sound panels. So those do a pretty good job. The main thing that I am going for here is I want to stop the parallel walls from reflecting sound. So when you have walls in parallel, the sound's just going to bounce around. So I want this wall to be flat, which means I can't cover it with sound panels. So I need the opposite wall to have stuff to break up the reflections. And these actually do a pretty good job. It's not perfect. It's a lot better than it used to be. And this, this wall, so I'm right at my streaming desk, and if I look over there, that wall was causing some pretty bad sound reflections, and I filled it with those panels as well as these cool shaped ones, which cut the echo a lot. How big is this room? It's about 12 feet by, I think it's 12 by 16. I think I can actually measure it. So let me set this down, and where did my computer go? Oh, Elgato sound panels. That's not what I meant to do. I did not know Elgato made sound panels. That is very cool. I wanted to switch to that camera while I go try to find the ruler. That's what I was going to do. So follow me around here. Almost. Oh, it lost me. It's okay. Found me again. I happen to have a ruler. So it's, yeah, 12 feet this way. $19 that way. Freaked out with my face. There we go. 12 feet by 19 feet. So that is the space. And then that's my front door. So these panels, let me talk about these panels. Those are some very thin. They're a lot thinner than the giant foam. And I've heard that they're not fantastic, but they're also cool looking and they do something. Yes, I'm sure they're not perfect. I have not yet set up my pegboard. That is another project. I finally mounted it, but I still have to attach things to it. I've got a little mirror over here so I can see myself, and it's got the little Hollywood lights. This is in progress project. I'm building the little box to replace the mess under the desk, but I did the first step of that, which is gluing this piece of wood on there. Finish that soon. These little drawers, I've actually been really impressed with. There's 3 of them. That one's one piece altogether. And then I've started to just put cables into them. So like the bottom one here, it's all SDI cables. That's all my HDMI cables. Here's all my USB. Here's all my Ethernet. This is a mess. This one is mostly audio things. So I've been trying to like categorize them, but that really helps clean things up a lot. Having drawers, turns out. Fun fact. This is where I set my bag down when I come on my bike. And I got this shelf to store large, bulky things. You can see I've got a bunch of sound panels I'm not using. That's the stuff that was cut off of the other stuff. And then got boxes for things, boxes for lights, that new monitor I got, and some extra sound panels I'm not using. This is kind of a mess of a corner. That's the other door to the other side of the room. I'm not going in there. That's where the server closet is. Back of my desk is a disaster. But all of the cables cleanly run into this little sleeve and then run over to the table. And then it's clean again for a little while. And then it's a rat's nest again. So that's the box I'm building to replace this, which is currently this is a disaster of a cardboard box with, I need to fix my mount, my handheld camera. You can see I've got little breakouts on top. So those are all going to be in like a real nice looking panel eventually. And it's going to be a nice looking box down here with better cable management. And yeah, oh yeah, this rug is actually another part of the soundproofing of the room. That was one of the first things I got in here, and it made a huge difference again. All right. What else? I confused my poor webcam. Oh, ceiling lights. So, the ceiling. This used to be a garage. This whole space used to be a garage. And everything in here is built up from that. So the walls over there used to be concrete, bare concrete exposed. The floor used to be concrete floor. This was all done from scratch. So you can see this little weird little step because the concrete floors are supposed to be tilted, which is good for water draining out that way. That was the garage door. So took out the garage door, replaced it with a wall, but then we had to build up the floor and fix the floor. So if you look, you can see there's a little gap there, but it's shorter on that side compared to that side because it's at an angle. And I wanted the floor to be straight. So we built up this floor and added this wood, and then didn't want to raise the door because the door is lower than this floor. So left this little cutout, put tile down there. It works fine. And then, so the ceiling used to be a fluorescent light, and I took that out, and I was like, I don't want fluorescent lights. I want cool lights. So these are LED strips that are individually addressable, That box I also painted white, and that's where the electrical stuff is for the lights, power supply, and a microcontroller. And then it's 4 strips that run to each corner. And let me see if this is going to work. I think the battery ran out. Battery on the wireless transmitter finally ran out. You should hear me now, though. Yep. Let's see if it's the transmitter or the receiver. This little thing's out. But is the other one out? Oh, nice. Receiver's still running. Receiver's still running, so I can switch my capsules. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's switch over to this. You should be able to hear me again. I think it might be quieter. Is it quieter for some reason? It is. Check, check. There we go. Okay, this should be a little better. Yeah, looks good now. How do you stick your sound canceling foam to the wall? That's what I was in the middle of saying. So, nails. The secret is nails. Everything is nailed in. So if you look very closely at the center of these, you will see a nail. 1 per hex panel. And then these are all on there with 1 nail right, mostly up top center, and they're hanging from that nail. Okay, let me go back to the chat and see. Other questions? What camera is the one for the 3D printer? Is it good quality in HDMI? It is not good quality. No, it is also not HDMI. I can show you what it looks like. Let me reassign input. Here, I'll show you my multi-view while I do this. Reassign matrix 7 to 3D printer camera. Oh, that was 11. Fine. So this is what it looks like. It's not great. It is, yeah, it's, I don't know, fine. It does the job. It's not something I would, I'm not gonna like, it's all bolted in there. Otherwise I would like take it out and point it at my face so you can compare, but no, it is not a good quality camera. It is a security camera. Essentially, it's like a little pinhole camera. Let me go bring this back over. Oh, I don't have audio if I do that. So, nope, I can't do it. No, you know, it looks like this. It looks like a security camera, and that's fine for what it is. Which is, I want to keep an eye on a print. when I'm not here, or I want to just live stream a 3D print. It is actually an SDI camera. So it's SDI because a lot of security cameras are SDI, which I actually appreciate. But I'll drop a link to this in the chat anyway. It is called Mini Indoor Surveillance Camera. Yeah, I think it's good for what it does. It's also like $85. So, you know, I'm happy. Happy with that price. SDI security camera. There you go. Okay, there's the link for that. You can also use straight pins. They don't leave as large a hole. They're really slim nails. They're not like fat nails. They're like the picture hanging nails. So they're like, I don't know, probably just a millimeter around. Is your studio a remote location? It is not my house. Correct. I have 3 34-inch ultra displays and 2 1080. That is a lot of monitors. I am a little bit jealous. Thank you for joining, Patrick. Sorry, this is like going on forever. Is this a 24-hour live stream? No, but you all told me I couldn't stop until the bottle's gone. Speaking of, what would you recommend for a fixed drum camera? I guess it depends on the goals. So like that camera, it's not a good camera, but it gets the job done. So if you need like a super pretty picture with, you know, blurry background and all that, no, that's not the camera for you, but it is cheap. Can you switch back to showing the program and also show the printer camera again? Yeah, so this is the printer camera. I don't know if you can really tell, like, let me put my hand down there. Oh yeah, it's got like auto color going on too. You can see it's doing color adjustments when I do that. No, but you know, it's actually fine. So it could work really well as a drum camera. The nice thing is that it's very, very small. It's like this big. And it can be hardwired in, there's no battery option. It like requires plug-in power. It is SDI, which actually was perfect for me because I didn't have to eat up an HDMI converter. And there's just like a 15-foot SDI cable that runs into this whole box. How far is your home from studio? It's like a 4-mile bike ride. So it takes me like 25 minutes to get here. Oh, I'm still on the multiview. Sorry. Oh well. I have a more messy studio, but thanks a lot. I'm sorry your studio is more messy because I feel like this one is pretty messy. I am trying to organize it, but it is, yeah, it's a lot. Yes, this is still going. I don't know why we're still going. What mic am I using? This is a Movo VXR10. And I got it ages ago. And it's meant for like vlogging, but this is Movo VXR10. It's like meant to be a little, you know, on-camera vlogging camera, but it's set about a foot from my face and run directly into the camera. It works great. I like it. I love these longer streams. It's been a long time. We've been going for quite a while now. People are tapering off, but we still got a good crowd here. Thank you all. I just tried signing up for your newsletter, but I got a 500 server error. Once I stop streaming, I will fix that. So try again tomorrow. All right. If you want to absorb broadband sound, it takes mass. Nothing short of an air gap can compete with mass. Yeah. The rug helps. Panels help. It's still a little bit echoey in here, but yeah. You didn't need me. Room sounds great. Panels look nice too. Need a little room sound to sound natural unless you're doing straight up voiceover. Fair point. It's true. Without any reverb, it would sound strange. Yeah, there's like a little bit I would like to cut out still. I can hear it myself even now. But I think in order to do that, the trade-off is putting things places, and there's only so much more stuff I want to cover up here, so it's a trade-off. Don't cycle and drink. That is very good advice. I will not. Are we at the part of the stream where we shout instructions at you on how to code an Arduino yet? No Arduino coding today, although I could try to fix my newsletter code live, which is a whole different kind of stream. Have I done a review on the Extreme yet? No, I have not. I'm probably not going to do like a review. I'm probably just going to do a bunch of tutorials. What is a live streaming experience with Lumix and Pocket 4K Blackmagic Pocket cameras? Which one is great? Any heating issues or autofocus? Autofocus on both of them is not good. I would not recommend them if you need good autofocus. So the this camera is attached to my desk. It does not move. When I'm here at the table, I do not move. If I back up, I will go out of focus. This is by design. The lighting is also meant for me to be right here. It's got the little grids on it so that it's here. And yeah, I am out of the light. I'm out of focus. I'm out of sound. This is optimized for me to stand here. It's great for that. If I hold something up to the camera, it's not going to autofocus on that because I don't want it to, because that's not what that camera is for. Same with the Blackmagic camera. I do not use that for autofocus. It has like a autofocus button, as in like you can tell it to focus without having to manually dial it, but the it's not going to like change dynamically. So on the other hand, my ZV1, which is what I use for this camera has fantastic autofocus. So if I show you this and then take it away, it's like, oh yeah, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to show you exactly what you meant to be in focus. And this camera is great for autofocus. So no, neither the Lumix cameras or the Blackmagic cameras have good autofocus. So I just don't use them for things that require autofocus. As far as live streaming goes, I actually think they are, they're both good. The main advantage with the Blackmagic one is that it has color grading built in. So you can load in a LUT to make it look like whatever you want. So I happen to have a LUT loaded into it that makes it look like the G7 so that these two cameras match, which is probably a little bit unusual, but yeah, you can grade the camera live for live streaming, which is pretty unusual for those kinds of cameras. The Lumix G7, the main reason I like it is the price. That's the main reason, because it is $500 with a lens. The Blackmagic camera is like $1,200 without a lens. You have to buy a lens on top of that. So yeah. Have another celebratory drink when you get home. Thank you. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough room left in me for more drinks when I get home, but cheers. ZV1 autofocus is even better than the A7S III, oddly enough. Yeah, this is the only, oh no, my overhead camera, I forgot to mention, my overhead camera is a A6400, Sony A6400. And that one is also decent autofocus. It's not quite as good as the ZV1, but it is infinitely better than the Lumix cameras and Blackmagic cameras. And that's the reason I use it for the overhead, so that I can hold something up to show it or have it focus on the table. Thanks for the congrats. This has been quite a stream. Thank you, Dean. Oh, what is my, oh yeah, thank you. I also like this jacket. It's a bit of a statement. What is the teleprompter? That is the Preroll Mini. Do I have a link to it? I don't. I dropped it in earlier, now that I'm thinking about it. Don't know if I can find it. Pergier Mini teleprompter. Oh, I put it in another video. That's why I can't find it. Still don't know why the search is not showing up. This was actually one that they sent me out to review, and I showed it on a live stream a couple weeks ago. So Eve blog, opened up the ATEM Mini Pro ISO, discovered the FPGA, and there is sold for $1,800. $1,800 what? I do not understand. I do not understand this statement. I don't understand how a component inside of it can sell for more than the 3 times the cost of the device. But yeah, no, seriously, the stuff is good. Like, the equipment is very good. Audio sounds great. Thank you, and keep rocking the bling. Thank you. Chuck says, diffuser project instead of more absorption, plus you get to build stuff. Yeah. But again, it's more stuff on the walls. So I'm going for some sort of aesthetic in here. I don't want it to look like a complete disaster despite what my floor looks like right now. So it's always in progress. It's looking a lot better than it used to. Oh, I forgot to mention these little things. Most recent addition to the studio is these little bulbs. They are dangling from these cords, and they are connected, of course, into the home automation system. But they are actually LED bulbs, LED Edison bulbs. And I got LED ones because they don't get hot that way, and they use a lot less energy. So I thought that was cool. Let me grab this link. Oh, the other cool thing about these is they're actually dimmable, which sometimes LED bulbs are not. And yeah, they're fun. I think it adds a nice little bit of a look to especially the shot at the table. So on that angle, I like having them in the background. I think my camera got bumped. It looks a little bit off. It's supposed to be turned a little bit to see less of the shelf. But yeah, here are the Edison bulbs. And thank you, HD Croft. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. And thanks for joining the stream. LED bulbs have a nice Bioshock aesthetic. Yeah, well, and I think it helps that there's like this teal too, right? Which is a nice contrasting color to the warm orange of the bulbs. Hypothetical question: if you could be CEO of any company, what company would you choose? I disagree with the premise of the question. I do not want to be CEO of any company. How long did it take me to get to 20K? The answer is, depends on how you count, because I've had my YouTube account for 13 years or more, but I didn't actually like start trying on YouTube until I had the idea of publishing videos on YouTube in 2019. And I have a few videos in 2019 of like trying to do like, I don't know, YouTuber things, right? Of like reviewing cameras or whatever. And not cameras. I never reviewed a camera. That's not true. I reviewed the Canon camera. But in 2019, like if you look back at my channel, yes, I have, like everybody, privated some videos. I can do the SuperSource. Switch back my SuperSource to showing this camera. There we go. 9 years ago, I left that one on there because it has 3,000 views. Apparently, people like to just watch an animated line move across the globe, which is cool. You should all watch this video. This is a video of my cat from 4 years ago. This is a very important video. We're just, this stream, okay. No, seriously, very important video. It is literally an hour of my cat sleeping, and she would appreciate it very much if you would watch this video. So this video has not enough views for how cute she is. There's the video. Yeah, she goes through various positions and various stages of cuteness. That is the second video, oldest video on my channel from 2016. But it wasn't really until this one where I started like actually trying on YouTube. This was the, this one did great, 32,000 views actually. And then I did some like home studio tours, stuff like that. But then I didn't really like actually try for reals until I would say the ATEM Mini stuff. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna like actually spend time making, like writing videos, writing scripts, filming, and actually try to get some content out more than like once every couple of months. So, and it turns out the key to growing on YouTube is making content, especially regularly. And then, and it worked, like it 100% worked. So once I finally started publishing regularly, it started actually working and people were finding the content. YouTube was recommending the content. So yeah, I haven't gone back and updated these thumbnails. I want to go match my new style, but it's a lot of work. Anyway, then I was like, okay, I need to find a better color scheme. And now you can see that there's a much more cohesive branding for all of these latest videos. But yeah, so it was like, I would say December 2019, which ironically was right before the pandemic. And that's when I started giving it a real effort. So it's been almost a year and a half. And thanks for the congrats. How do you achieve this iconic S-Log color, Sony? No, this is literally straight out of the Lumix G7, no adjustments. This is what the Lumix G7 looks like. Like, this is why I like this camera. I think the colors look great. And then, of course, lighting. This is the Lumix G7. And I saw super chat. Yes, thank you. Evening and congrats. Have people been thumbs upping? Yes, people have been. Thank you all for that. I appreciate it. There's a lot of likes on this video. Thanks for the amazing videos. Because of them, I finally got a Blackmagic 6K and an ATEM Mini Pro ISO. Congrats. That's an awesome combo. I hope you do amazing things with it. I got my Extreme in yesterday. One thing to note is that SuperSource cannot do border on the boxes. Any thoughts on that? I noticed that. I did notice that. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. Right after I say goodbye to Scott. Thank you for joining the stream and thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. I know I've been going forever. It's probably super late in most of Europe by now. But thanks for the super chat and glad you could join. Yes, let me talk about lack of borders on SuperSource, which is definitely a thing, and it also is okay. So if we go back to my SuperSource, this is my current SuperSource layout. I've only got 2 sources on here, but I've got box 1, box 2 with a background that's animated in the background. And yeah, you can't do borders. So with the upstream keys, for example, the DVE, you get this border option. So you can draw, what is this one? Upstream key 1. So if I turn upstream 1 on air, get that out of the way. And then if I change the border color, you'll see what I mean. Like it'll, where's my color picker? So I can choose a bright border and you can choose the size of it. Cool. That's great. That's fun. You can't do that with SuperSource. But what you can do with SuperSource is overlay stuff on top of it. So it's not quite as flexible because you do have to like do extra work. And I earlier made a little graphic here. So SuperSource oval. Let me load that back into Media Player 1. Let me do just borders. So here's a layout I made. It's going to be hard to line that back up, but that's in Media Player 1. And if I take my downstream key 1, which is not doing the chat, and choose Media Player 1, turn that on, here are the borders. So I have to line myself up again, which is actually the opposite way I would do this. So normally I would probably, let's see, is there any hope of me doing this right? There is hope, I think. Scale this back up and then crop. Oh, I have to go even more and then crop the sides. Yeah. Okay, this is good. Let's get in there. Crop the right until I get under that, hide under that border, and then take my box 2, which is the computer. It looks like it's about the right size, it's just in the wrong spot. So I'll scoot it over, bring it down. And it looks like it's a little bit too large. So let's shrink it like that. Okay, there we go. Now I've got borders. If I turn that off, you'll see the border just sort of covers, sits on top, covers stuff up. So yeah, you don't get built-in borders, but it does mean you actually get more control over the borders because I can do whatever I want with these borders, right? I can go and, where are the borders? I've got, what are they called? Main plus iPad borders. It should be in here. So if I open this up, I can actually do way more stuff with the borders now. So I can do, this is going to be like, I don't know, a horrible mess. But let me just draw stuff. So I can do like a wavy border. Okay. Probably you would want to have like somebody who does graphic design do this for you, but this will work. And if I export this border, oh, I have an idea. Then let me make it a gradient border too. So let me overlay, gradient overlay. We'll pick that on that side, and we'll pick some sort of green, no, some sort of teal on the other side, and then we'll do 0 degrees. Okay, now I've got a nice little gradient border with a little wave. Export that into the media pool. Gradient border into slot 12, pre-multiply alpha. Great. Now I go back to my software control. In downstream key, or in the media pool, my downstream key is already loaded, right? So I've got my border. So let's swap out for the gradient border. That's loaded up. Now back in the switcher, I can say, go. Now I've got like a fancy border, which you can't do with SuperSource. So this is why I don't mind. So I've got my background layer, which is the animation. I've got my 2 video sources of SuperSource, and then I've got an overlay with the fancy border I made, which again, please hire a designer to make a nice border. Don't use the one that I just used. Oh, my border stayed on. Let's try that again. Let's go back to that. I need to make sure to tie my downstream key on before I do the transition, and then it leaves with the transition. And this does work with the ATEM Mini Pro. You don't get SuperSource, but if you use your one upstream keyer to position one video source in there, you can put a border over it too with the downstream key. All right, where was I in the chat? You can switch background overlay for the SuperSource itself. Yeah, earlier in the stream, I did an example of replacing the, instead of using a background for the SuperSource, using an overlay for the SuperSource, which works also, but it's just different. But yeah, you can scroll back to find that. I'm going to go back and add timestamps at some point to this. I was almost 2 minutes behind, just caught up. I'm with you on the Lumix. I use a G85 and the video is fantastic for this type of work. Your Leica lens is super nice. Yes, absolutely. What is the main advantage of getting the ISO as opposed to the Pro besides getting 8 separate video recording? Trying to justify buying an ISO. Well, ISO as opposed to the Pro, there's 4. If you're talking about the ATEM Mini, yeah, it's 4 inputs. But yeah, the only difference with the ISO is that it records all the inputs. That's literally the only difference. Everything else about both ISO models, like the ISO Extreme and ISO Pro, only difference is the recording ability of each isolated channel. And for that, it is, if you need that feature, it is the cheapest and most efficient way to get that feature. Any other way of getting 8 recorders into your workflow is going to be more cumbersome and more expensive. So if you need that feature, absolutely worth it. No questions asked. If you don't care about that feature, like not needing to record all your sources, don't worry about it. Don't save $300. But also, like, if you're spending $1,000, spending $1,300 isn't that much extra. So I don't know. How are you using a video as a background in SuperSource? So here's the thing about SuperSource. It doesn't care what any of your sources are. Got my super nice background border over it. SuperSource, like any of your boxes can be any sources, and this art is the background. I think it's interesting they call it art, but I feel like normally they use a lot more technical terms. But this is just the background or foreground. So right now it's set to background, and it's just one of the inputs. So I can set it to Media Player 2, which is my little weird transition bar, or I can set it to my camera, which is weird, but hey, it works. I can set it to the other camera. But what I've got it set to is the Mica spec that is playing this on a loop. And it's just a video, it's just an input. But yeah, it works as a media player or as a video. It doesn't care. It doesn't care what it is. You can do whatever you want in the background or in the foreground. The foreground, this is the SuperSource we made earlier of this little transparent overlay, and then that works better as a foreground graphic. Get rid of that. Oh yeah, it's still mostly lined up. So that's in the foreground now. Of course, in the background it doesn't make any sense, but you can choose to place it over or under your SuperSource 4-up windows. Let me change that back to City Loop in the background. What is, oh right, because the key. Nice, okay. And yeah, it's super cool. I don't know, SuperSource is amazing. I just love it. One funny moment from yesterday was, let's go back to the other layout. There we go. Whoops. One funny moment from yesterday was me yelling at my Extreme while I was trying to use select bus to change a content in a circle picture in picture. Then I remembered it was pattern and not DVE. Yep. I know. This thing does a lot, and it's definitely a lot to keep track of. I had to check out for a while, but in case phone call meal, I should eat. Speaking of meal, making progress on this wine though. But in case you haven't, plug your ATEM Mini risers. I saw them on the table in the background. Yeah, I did talk about them earlier. It's my latest video also, so go take a look at that. I talk all about them. But if you are somehow just joining the stream now, this is the ATEM Mini stand that I designed to hold an ATEM Mini on your desk at an angle and give you a ton of mounting options for it. And there is a link, I believe a link in this video. Also, it's the last video on my channel. And it's been a fun project. It's a 3D printed stand that I designed and is being manufactured now in US, UK, and Australia. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. As of yesterday, there is now an option to buy the stand from somebody in Australia who is making it. So that is, it's linked on the same product page. But yeah, if you are anywhere in that region, anywhere in Australia, Pacific, Japan, whatever, Singapore, he'll ship it to you. And that is going to be a lot cheaper than trying to ship it from the US or the UK. I'm still lining up somebody for the EU. I do want to get it manufactured in the EU as well. How about using a metal bar for the new Mini Extreme mount to give it the extra strength, maybe aluminum? I was thinking about that. The problem with if I can find a source for like a stock metal bar that people can buy, because my goal is not to like have to put together a kit to sell. I want to make sure that it's possible for you to make this thing on your own, either 3D printing or buying somebody's 3D printed parts. If I can find a stock metal bar at some pre-cut size, I will consider it. The problem is I would lose all the mounting options. So in my top bar, I can make a little cutout for the small rig bar. So you can put your own small rig bar in there. But yeah, it's a bit of a trick. We'll see. We will see. Where can we download SuperSource templates for one-to-one talks on Zoom or Teams calls? This is a good question. At this point, now that I'm like playing around with this enough, I'm pretty sure I'm going to make some, because having done this now, the being able to creating this layout, positioning it, doing the little overlays of, where's my little overlay? Doing that overlay, there's a lot that goes into it, and I can definitely see the benefit of being able to just download some templates, both SuperSource layouts with graphics for under and over. So I'm going to try to make some of those available, because I think that'd be pretty fun to have those available to download. So keep an eye out here. You will need a rest after the stream. I always need a rest after the stream, even after an hour. It turns out talking for any amount of time without pausing is a lot of work. DVE Store lists the Extreme in stock but can't add to cart. They have some sort of issue with the site where when their stock tracker thing doesn't quite talk to the website, it gets mixed up. I'm looking at it now, and I see that it says in stock, but there is no add to cart button. I think it may have that same problem. That happened with my stand right when we first launched it, because they only had like a certain number already made, and then the rest are like ordering pre-orders essentially. So it must be in the same situation now. It must not actually be in stock anymore. But if you wait 2 weeks, the one I'm using will be in stock, because I'm going to send this one back to them, because I'm hoping my ISO comes by then. Or if it doesn't, I might just have to buy this from them. Thank you, Patrick. Good to see you. Have a good time running errands. This is a good question. So yeah, the little USB webcam that I'm using, the little PTZ one that's following me around, it's connected to my Mac, outputting over my second monitor. And I tried connecting it to my Raspberry Pi to not use my computer for this. Didn't work great, I will say that. I had to boot it up in graphical mode of like loading up the full X windows and everything, and it was not good. It was laggy, it was a little stuttery. I tried using the fancy thing they have, the OMX player that my Stream Bridge solution uses, and it did not work. I cannot figure out how to get a webcam output over OMX player. I found several forum threads that also resulted in no leads, so not pleased with that solution. I would like that to be a solution, but no, I have not been able to figure that out. So yeah, this is running through QuickTime in my Mac, and I do not like it, but it does work. Can you explain how the settings for audio on the headphone output work on the ATEM Mini Extreme? Yeah, I can. Let me show you how that works. The headphone output, it's not quite what I wanted it to be, but it is better than nothing. So the headphone jack, if you don't touch anything, is your program out. So whatever is your main mix you're sending to the stream is what you hear on the headphones. If you tap one of these buttons, that is what is sent out to the headphone jack. However, it only lets you press one at a time. You can't turn on multiple. So whereas like with the program audio, I can choose multiple audio sources to go to program, which here, if I turn these on, it'll be a mess of an echo. So you're hearing 3 different microphones now in the room. And that is not how it works with headphones. So with headphones, you can only monitor one or your entire mix. So you can't do the mix minus thing of like sending all but one source to the headphones, unfortunately. But it is better than nothing. What was your media player device called? It is called the Mika Spec. Mika Spec is what I'm using to play that city loop graphic. It takes an SD card, it just plays whatever's on the SD card and just doesn't stop. It's great. There's no, like, you can set it up so that there's no interface needed at all. Like, it has a remote for, like, I don't know, selecting what file and stuff, but if there's only one file on the card, you can go configure it to, when it powers on, play automatically and not stop. So it's perfect for that. I'm just like, play this file. No, really, just keep playing it. I don't want to touch this ever. Okay, we are 3.5 hours in. I think we're going to wrap this up. Thank you for watching. You should start a channel, absolutely. Thank you, Russell, for watching. It's been a long stream. I do not expect anybody to have watched this whole thing. This is the longest stream we've done other than the Build With Me ones. That is true. I literally left, went and shot an engagement session, came back, and you're still running. That is amazing. Congrats on being more productive than me. Can you explain what we use a Chromecast for? I use it for the chat and any other kinds of graphics you'd be sharing out from a web browser. That's the main, that's how I would suggest using it. The trick with the Chromecast is you have to run it through an HDMI splitter, but if you get the Miracast ones, go back into my channel, there's a video on Miracast stuff. Those work without an HDMI splitter in the way. I should be doing my taxes, but this is much more entertaining. I should also be doing my taxes. I'm so close to being done. Still got a little bit to do. Don't drive on your own after those drinks. I thankfully do not own a car and have no desire to drive ever, regardless of how much I've had to drink. So yes, don't worry about it. I have a bicycle here, which I'm going to ride home eventually after I do some more stuff here, because I do want to still get a little bit more done today. Thanks to the stream. Keep up your great work. Cheers. Dean, I am impressed that you have watched the entire stream. I feel like you should get a prize for that. I do not know what the prize should be. Thanks for the amazing streaming channel. Gotta go. I should have left before. I should have left before. I'm glad we're all in this together. Are you going to drop back to 1 hour streams next week or keep it getting longer and longer? Next week will be a normal stream. I'm going to mention the giveaway again next week. I'm going to drop the second code next week. It'll only be 1 hour next week. I mean, okay, maybe an hour and a half. But if I spill over, it's going to be a half hour at most. But no, next week will be normal. The week after that, not totally sure. That's going to be the stream on the YoloBox from somewhere. I may find a park if the weather is nice. Otherwise, I might just hide out here and use the YoloBox in here. But that's where we'll be announcing the giveaway. And then the, I'm not planning on making 3.5 hour streams my normal thing. Don't worry. Sticking to an hour, it's still, it's not a lot. 4 more hours, ooh. For 50K, you'll do a 24-hour stream. No, not 50. Maybe for 100. Maybe for 100. H2R has Extreme live tomorrow. If there's demand for more, very good point. Go subscribe to Here to Record on YouTube. That is John Barker. We've done a couple of videos together. Yes, he is streaming now as well. Finally got that sorted out. So that is, go subscribe. He'll be live tomorrow. And thank you for joining. Thanks for the congrats. I hope looking for the secret code and finding you live. Well, it's in here several times now, so you'll find it eventually. Thankfully, it's not mentioned only once. I'm glad you've learned things. I've learned things too. I think there's a lot of people who've been on the whole stream. I thank you for being on for the whole stream. I definitely did not expect anybody to be on for this whole time. Why don't I make a Discord server? I've been considering it. For now, I'm not going to do that. However, there are two other places you can find me. The forum, which is linked down below. Again, it's also at this link I just dropped in the chat. That's a great place. It's a lot of fun. You can like post questions you have, post photos of your rigs and your streaming gigs that you're doing. I also do hang out in John Barker's Here to Record Discord quite a lot. That's a great community as well. So go check out his stream tomorrow. There's a link in his video to his Discord. I'm not going to drop the link down in mine, but go check out his videos. And I do hang out in the Discord quite a lot, so you'll see me in there all the time. And I actually do have a special channel in there I'm going to be setting up to do like push notification alerts when I do go live, so that you can make sure you don't miss more live streams as I do more live streams. So yeah, I think my plan for the rest of the day is to stop this, finish my Bubbly, and fix my email sign up so that you can get those extra points in the giveaway. And yeah, the champagne, no, it's still nice and cool. It's also not champagne, it is sect. It is sparkling wine from Germany. In the next live stream, can you hide the secret code better? Yes, in the next live stream, it's going to not be as easy to find. So I don't want it to be just the same way you found this one. And we'll see what I come up with. And I will try to remember to put the right code in there. I can't believe I swapped it around, but I fixed that problem now. So yes. Okay. Chuck, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you reaching out about something I'm working on. I am excited to find out what this is. My contact information is very easy to find. It is listed on my YouTube channel. Also my Instagram, my new Instagram, AaronPK_TV, because I can't use a dot in my username because Instagram's terms of service do not allow that. That is my new Instagram. Go follow me there and feel free to send me messages there. Holy crap. A lot of people have followed me today. Thank you all. I went from 2 followers to 500 today on that account. So thank you for that. Okay. It will be taped under the desk and you need to hack the small Raspberry Pi camera to reveal it. That is an excellent idea, and that if I ever do a live stream giveaway for my work channel, that is what I will do. That might be a little bit not the right audience for this. So yes. Okay. With that, we are going to wrap this thing up. Where am I going to end this? We're going to end this on the music from the hyperdeck, and we're going to end it on the graphics from the city loop. So with that, thank you all for joining. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me that you are all hanging out with me all day on Sunday, every Sunday. And I really enjoy the opportunity to help people understand this stuff and help people learn this stuff. So thank you all so much, and I will see you all in the next one.